worldwide. And Byrna is proudly American, each unit hand-assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Visit byrna.com today, or you can simply try before you buy by finding a Byrna dealer and a partner near you. That's byrna.com.
There's new abortion controversy in Missouri. Republicans in the legislature trying to undo what voters decided.
In November last year, 52% of Missouri voters approved a constitutional amendment legalizing the procedure in the state until fetal viability, about 24 weeks of pregnancy. But this week, the state Senate approving a proposed abortion rights revision measure in a 21-11 vote. It passed Missouri's GOP-led House last month. It aims to repeal the voter-approved amendment and instead ban abortions with exceptions for a medical emergency, rape, and incest up to 12 weeks of pregnancy. Republican lawmakers are hoping to have it appear on the November 2026 ballot or sooner in a potential special election. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
In Colorado, a school district is suing the state trying to block transgender athletes from playing in girls' sports, something President Trump's been trying to stop.
In the suit, School District 49 alleges the state policy conflicts with federal Title IX protections of female student athletes. School Superintendent Peter Hiltz telling Fox News Digital the state rules advocate equity as well as discrimination, and the lawsuit is designed to clear up the conflicting regulations. Colorado Attorney General Philip Weiser says he is committed to defending state anti-discrimination laws, but declined further comment. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are falling before today's trading. In the NBA playoffs, Golden State knocked out.
Minnesota is moving on. A 121-110 victory in Game 5.
The call on TNT. The Timberwolves advance to the Western Conference Finals. In the East, Boston beat New York 127-102. The defending champion Celtics stay alive, but still trail the Knicks 3-2. In hockey, Edmonton beat Vegas in overtime to move on to the NHL Western Conference Final, while defending champion Florida beat Toronto 6-1 to go up 3-2. The PGA Championship just teeing off right now in North Carolina, the golf's second major tournament of the year. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Good morning. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM news time is 7:05. I'm Megan Stone with your news update, brought to you by the new destination Kia of Utica, Commercial Drive, Yorkville. Right now, 64 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Your full WIBX Weather Center forecast is next. A Utica man was arrested on grand larceny and burglary charges. According to Utica police, officers were called to the 1700 block of Genesee Street for reports of a stolen skid steer. The victim told police an unknown man had broken into a storage facility and stole the equipment. Police found social media postings advertising the sale of the stolen skid steer, but they learned it was actually being sold by someone who had purchased it from the suspect. Police were able to use this to find the original culprit and arrested 33-year-old Mersad Dolik. He was arrested and charged with third-degree burglary and third-degree grand larceny. Ilion residents are advised to prepare for water shutoff starting at 8 a.m. today as new water valves are installed in the village. Areas that will have their water shutoff today include portions of Shull Street, Behringer Road, West Montgomery Street, and West Prospect Street. Tomorrow, the water will turn off for those on West Montgomery Street between Behringer and Shull. Shutoffs could expand to other streets for valve repairs. Water shutoffs will resume Monday through Wednesday after taking a pause for the weekend. Those shutoffs begin at 8 a.m. For the full list of all affected streets, head on over to the Village of Ilion's Facebook page. Governor Kathy Hochul says those inflation refund checks should be in the mail in October. The governor said additional information to the controversial idea, which would send checks up to $400 to 8.2 million eligible households statewide. An estimated 198 million Mohawk Valley residents and 156,000 of those in North Country should expect a check. She said residents need not sign up, apply, or do anything to receive the check. The refunds will go by state tax records from 2023 to determine eligibility. Checks will be mailed in October and should continue through November. And Hollywood will soon be doing business in Russia again. U.S. film distribution by major studios came to a halt in Russia 3 years ago when Moscow invaded Ukraine. Independent films are still being shown in Russia, but major studios are hoping for an end to the war this summer so they can boost their international box office revenues. The first studio to make the leap is Lionsgate, which is planning to release the John Wick spin-off Ballerina in Moscow on June 5th. Ballerina stars Ana de Armas as a Russian assassin exacting revenge over her father's death. Your WIBX news time is 7:07. Here is your Weather Center forecast.
Not getting out, looked for great chances of severe storms, or at least in a marginal risk of an isolated stronger storm here as we head on through the next couple of days. So just be on your guard. Warm weather to the tune of 78 degrees today, this morning. A lot of cloud around this afternoon. We'll start to see that shower thunderstorm threat, but scattered around into early tonight. Then clearing overnight, 60, 50s in the Adirondacks. A few showers, thunderstorms tomorrow, 82. I'm Ray Stajic at the Weather Channel on WIBX, 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Right now, 64 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Let's take a look at sports. Sports brought to you by the IBEW Local 43 Sports Desk. The full NFL schedule is finally out, and the league released the entire slate of games on Wednesday. Notable matchups in Week 1 include Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers battling Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in Brazil, while Josh Allen and the Bills square off against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens on Sunday Night Football from Baltimore. A Super Bowl rematch between the Eagles and runner-up Chiefs takes place in Week 2 from Kansas City. Meanwhile, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys will be featured on Thursday for a league record 4 times this season. In New York, the Giants open the year on the road when they visit the Commanders. The Jets are home in Week 1, hosting the Steelers. Gang Green will have its bye week after visiting the Bengals in Week 8. The G-Men have their bye after visiting the Patriots for Monday Night Football in Week 13. The regular season wraps with the Giants hosting the Cowboys and the Jets visiting the Bills. And the Bills will have some dates they can circle on their calendars. The NFL with the schedule release. The defending AFC East champions start their season at Highmark Stadium against the Ravens. The Bills also have another showdown with the AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs, who knocked them out of the playoffs last season. Buffalo will also take on the champions Philadelphia Eagles, the Steelers, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Another team has locked up a spot in the NBA's conference finals. The Timberwolves are heading back to the Western Conference Finals for the second straight year, following a 121-110 win over the Warriors in Game 5. In other action, the Celtics kept their season alive with a 127-102 victory over the Knicks in Game 5. The playoff action continues tonight with the Nuggets playing host to the Thunder in Game 6. OKC leads the best-of-7 series 3-2. The Oilers, they are back in the Western Conference Finals. Edmonton became the first team to clinch a spot in the conference finals. They eliminated the Golden Knights with an overtime victory in Game 5. The Panthers are 1 win away from going back to the Eastern Conference Finals. The defending Stanley Cup champions blew out the Maple Leafs in Game 5 of their best-of-7 second-round series. Florida leads the series 3-2. They host the Torontos for the Game 6 Friday night. 2 games are on for the slate tonight. The Capitals trail the Hurricanes 3-1, entering Game 5 in Washington. The Stars visit the Jets for Game 5, also up 3-1. Xander Schauffele hopes to defend his title at the PGA Championship at Charlotte. Schauffele won last year's tournament by 1 stroke after finishing atop the leaderboard at 21 under par. He will be alongside Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler for the first 2 rounds. Jordan Spieth is looking to complete the career Grand Slam. He has already won the Masters, the U.S. Open, and the Open Championship. And in baseball, the Yankees captured their rubber match against the Mariners, rallying for a 3-2 win in their finale from Seattle. Aaron Judge hit a go-ahead solo homer in the top of the 8th to bring his season total to 15. The Mets unable to complete the sweep after being shut out by the Pirates 4-0 in their series finale from Queens. Clay Holmes suffered the loss after allowing 4 runs on 7 hits and 1 walk. New York is leading the NL East. They visit the Yankees for a 3-game series that begins tomorrow night in the Bronx. Your WIBX news time is 7:11, 64 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company is excited to announce the return of the 24th annual Adirondack Paddle Fest and Gear Expo. This highly anticipated event will return to Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Route 28 in Old Forge, May 16th through the 18th. Join us for sales on outdoor gear, clothing, and boats. We'll have food, craft beer, music, kids' activities, and more. Shop over 1,000 canoes, kayaks, and SUPs from the leading manufacturers and hundreds of accessories to choose from. Representatives and vendors will be on hand to help you choose what is best for your paddling needs. Gear up for all your outdoor adventures with discounts on outdoor gear, footwear, and clothing for the whole family. Shop your favorite brands and get great deals this weekend only at Patagonia, Teva, North Face, MSR, and more. Follow Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Facebook and Instagram for updates or for all your local outdoor needs.
Not everyone who handles your personal information is as careful as you are, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the United States. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock will monitor hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. And if your identity's stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save 40% your first year with my name, Clay, as your promo code at LifeLock.com. LifeLock. For the threats you can't control, terms apply.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
518-554-0000, 100 Great Oaks, Albany.
Hi, this is Ray Durso of the Genesis Group. If you're interested in keeping up with events and news in the Mohawk Valley region, I have the show for you. It's called This Week in the Mohawk Valley, and it airs every Sunday on WIBX. Join us as we talk with area business leaders, elected officials, law enforcement, educators, and more. Don't miss This Week in the Mohawk Valley every Sunday at 9 a.m. on WIBX 950 a.m. 92.3 FM.
Keeler in the Morning, live local news updates throughout your workday.
I feel smarter when I listen.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Hello, everyone in Central New York. This is Dave Letterman, your old TV pal. Remember me? I'm supposed to say something witty and funny here about Bill Keeler, but I've got nothing. Ever see a picture of this guy? That's a joke in itself. Anyhow, here's Keeler on WIBX.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. And we are on YouTube, but it doesn't really matter where you sit because apparently
you are ghosts.
We have a frozen camera that doesn't pick up anything. So in studio right now is Kayla Ellis, the Director of Marketing and Communications, and Kristen Smith, Fund and Systems Strategist with the Community Foundation of Herkimer and Oneida Counties. And we're coming up. I will say, get really tight on the microphone. Get right up to that thing. And don't worry, no one here has any germs, so you're going to be just fine. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much. And if you could, let's just start out by explaining to everybody what MV Gives is. Whoever wants to take that.
You got it. I'll take it.
All right.
So Mohawk Valley Gives, we are in our 4th year this year. This is our community's largest day of giving. So it happens every September.
Yeah. So it's anyone. What are the qualifications? And I'll start with you on that.
Sure.
So how do you get in?
Any 501c3 in good standing with the IRS, of course, can actually go online starting today, which is why May 1st is
Don't
so
look at me,
important.
Tim, I mean,
yeah. Why does
today could be the day?
It could be the day.
Could be the day. So they can go online to givemv.org, and from today all the way through the month of May, they can register their nonprofit to participate or re-register if they've participated in the past.
So what I find is it's really easy, but you do not have to be a community foundation. What do you call it? So we're Real Men Get Tested for Cancer.
Yes.
Fund holders.
What are we?
You're a fund holder.
We're a fund holder.
Yep.
Yes.
So we don't have to do all of this. Is the beauty of community foundation.
Yep.
Is we don't have to do any of the legal stuff, any of the
Correct.
when you say in good standing with the IRS. I say to you, I hope we are.
Yeah. Bill being in good standing with the IRS feels like it's an oxymoron, but no, it's true.
Let's not talk.
No,
about
it's
that.
true. It's true. It's true. You don't have to be a computer programmer, to be on the platform for the Giving Day and to set up your organization. You don't have to be a legal guru. It's very user friendly.
I think the point I wanted to make is that you do not need to be like us, a fund that is associated with the community foundation.
Exactly.
You can be any 501c3. Because technically, we're a 501c3 through the community foundation.
Yep.
So, but I would say it's probably, this is what I was told. Was it you that told me? Somebody told me recently that I saw out at a restaurant. It's easier for you, us, me and Tim, because we're a fund that's already associated with you.
Because the donations from the Giving Day can funnel right into your fund, which makes it, it's, seamless.
Unless we don't sign up.
Exactly. That's the key.
And it's all my fault, Tim. It really is.
Yeah. And let's not have more fault.
That's right. So I'm today. One of the two of us are going to go on and we're going to sign up for this.
Very simple. Very simple. The registration survey is, I think, like 20 questions long, and they're very, basic information: who's managing your campaign, your EIN number, your mission statement, that type of thing. And registration is going to be open throughout the entire month of May. So today through the 31st.
And we don't have any of those numbers. Do we have an EIN number?
You won't have to worry about that.
Okay,
because
good.
We're under them.
Because
we're under their
them.
wing.
Yes.
You got it.
Yes.
So this is going to be really, really simple for us.
Yes. Very simple.
We can screw it up. Don't worry.
And now I'm going to go off some of you. You've given me some questions, and I'm never good with that, but I appreciate it tremendously. So we've answered what is Mohawk Valley Gives and who puts it on.
The Community Foundation and Up Mobility Foundation is also our partner co-host.
And I really feel that it's like a holding your own garage sale or the world's largest yard sale. So the world's largest yard sale, which we do here, you stick with me because
I don't know where we're going. But we're going there fast.
I'm coming full circle on this one. So you're having, if you have one garage sale, it's tough to get people to come to your place. But when there are 100 or 200 sales all in one place on the same day.
I see.
It's such a great way to put it.
Absolutely. I love that.
Everybody's there in this, quote, community.
Yeah.
So that's really what this is. And it makes it so.
Totally.
That's why, I mean, to see $5 million given in a single fund. So MV Gives is the fund, but $5 million is a big number for this area.
It is.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And for a donor to get to that platform and give later in September, you could love, different types of organizations, and you might want to donate to people that are focused on animals, but you also might want to have a focus on, food insecurity. You can do it all in one transaction, one platform. It's fantastic.
And it's almost like going online and selecting
shopping.
tax deductions.
Very good. Yes.
Very important. It's also a tax deduction.
Well, and playing off, our garage is very small as opposed to other organizations, and I think it gives us an opportunity, the little guys, to get that
visibility.
Voice out there.
Exactly.
I saw the amount that a lot of the big guys got a lot of money, and God bless them or whatever. But there were some organizations I had never heard of, and it was interesting to me, or whatever it is, to kind of learn their stories and things like that. It's very unique.
Yeah.
So.
Why is this is one of your questions? Why is May 1st important?
Well, May 1st is today, and it's nonprofit registration opening. So it's a big day for us. This is kind of like the kickoff, I would say, to Mohawk Valley Gives in our community. Once May rolls around, it's just rolls throughout the whole summer
We sit
into
in the
September.
office today, and we're like, oh, look, another one registered. Oh, another one registered.
That's cool.
We get excited.
And then there'll be things that'll be going on, activities and all that stuff as we make our way to the fall, right?
Correct. Yes. Once registration is closed at the end of the month, then we will start to send out some communications inviting all of those nonprofits to attend different types of trainings, networking events. We have Mohawk Valley Gives University coming back for the second year, and that's on July 30th. At MVCC, so people will get an opportunity to come network, work together, and get rolling.
And anything else that you want to have added to this
well, I
great
really
event?
think we'd love to do, first, a plug. Our business community in the Mohawk Valley has been just so supportive and awesome. And, our two of our sponsors that we can't say enough about, the Staffworks organization and M&T Bank, and
They've
then
been with us for all
from
4
the
years.
beginning, and there's so many other businesses that are helping to support, and businesses can give support through sponsorship. They can donate, obviously, on the day of. They can hold fundraisers, among their employees for one of the organizations.
You keep talking. I'll be right back.
Sure. Lots of great ways for businesses to get in.
To get engaged. Yeah. I think we get that question a lot from businesses is, well, how can I get involved? And it's not just sponsorship. There are many different ways that, businesses can kind of fold into MV Gives and bring their employees along for the ride and just make this a true community-wide event.
All right. And then one last question that I have is for someone like, for a group like ours, our mission is very simple. It's simply to advertise the message of especially guys, but really anyone, men and women, but to advertise the fact that it's so easy to get tested, and it's important because early detection really does save lives and it saved both of our lives. So that's our mission, and it's just the two of us. There are no managing fees. There's actually there's no structure, Tim.
We are
zero.
We're an amoeba. We have
no structure.
So all we're trying to do is something positive. And by going to the Community Foundation, that has just made this. We would not be able to do this if we had to do all of the other stuff.
No doubt.
Well, thank you. And we're happy to be doing it with you.
So I just wanted you, if you could, talk about how, if there's someone, because it is important to be an official charity.
Yes.
Because this allows someone who gives to us to have a tax donation. If you're just doing a little fundraiser on the side, that donation is not tax deductible. Here, because we're registered with the Community Foundation, it is. So just close, if you could, by explaining how easy it is to become one of us, just like us. Or if you don't know the answer.
No, I mean, anyone can create a fund at the foundation, whether it's, organizations like you who are looking to become, a 501c3, or donors who are just
looking to
give back to the community. Yeah. And we're your greatest resource, I think, for that.
Because it's an awesome service.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
It is.
Is it duplicated around the country? I mean, is it something?
It is
okay.
Actually, yes. Here in New York State, there are several community foundations that service different counties and areas, and across the country.
Yeah, all right.
Hundreds. So.
All right, so go to the website.
Yes, givemv.org. Get registered. Mark your calendar in September.
I don't think we said the date. September 19th, Friday.
Okay. Yes, that's the giving day.
And I do want to tell you the reason why we, at least me, did not sign up, because I thought it was a big mountain with paperwork and all this stuff, and a tough, high climbing mountain. I don't like climbing mountains.
I know. I hear you.
Mountain.
But it isn't like that. It's easy.
No, not at all. Very easy.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
By the way, thank you so much for what you guys did for the Children's Museum. I was at the ribbon cutting this week.
Oh,
thank
wonderful.
you. It was great.
That's great.
Great.
They opened today as well. With
Yes.
Open today?
Awesome. Yes, it's awesome.
Great job, guys.
Big day for our community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And a reminder, and we'll be reminding oftentimes here on the radio, Real Men Get Tested is going to be a great organization to give to.
Absolutely.
When you give.
Yep.
Because
they actually added some credibility to it.
They have. And that ain't easy.
I know.
Every once in a while, something that sounds too good to be true is actually in fact true. How would you like up to $2,000 of free windows? When I say $2,000 of free windows, I mean $2,000 of free windows. No gimmicks or games. You don't have to buy $2,000 to get $2,000 free. You just get $2,000 of free windows through Patriot Home Solutions and NYSERDA. Of course, some restrictions apply, but none of the restrictions are income-based. And you don't have to sit through a long, drawn-out sales presentation. Give Patriot a call at 315-401-0440, and they can quickly tell you over the phone if you qualify or how you can get qualified. That's 315-401-0440. These aren't any windows. They're high-quality, custom-fitted windows designed to save energy and keep the cold air out all winter. Your window solution is Patriot Home Solutions. Online at patriothomesolutions.com.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone with your news update brought to you by the new Destination Kia of Utica, Commercial Drive, Yorkville. An Unadilla man faces attempted murder charges. New York State Police say troopers arrested 22-year-old Seth Ostrander on May 1st following a domestic dispute in the town of Masonville. Police say Ostrander had been arguing with the victim when it turned violent, ending with Ostrander shooting a shotgun toward the victim. The individual wasn't struck and declined medical treatment at the scene. Ostrander was taken into custody and charged with attempted murder in the second degree and first-degree criminal use of a firearm, both of which are Class B felonies. The investigation is ongoing. New York State Police are investigating a possible assault that happened in Rome. According to police, troopers were called to the home on Elmer Hill Road for a possible early morning assault on Saturday. State police have declined to release more information regarding the incident due to the sensitive nature of the investigation. The public should not be concerned about their safety, police said, adding the incident appears isolated and that they don't believe there is a threat to public safety at this time. More than 2 years after her disappearance, an arrest has been made in connection with the death of Samantha Humphrey. It was announced yesterday the now 17-year-old ex-boyfriend of the 14-year-old Humphrey is accused of murdering her. Prosecutors say the teen killed Humphrey because he thought she was pregnant and wanted to keep the baby. Humphrey was last seen alive in November 2022, and her body was pulled from the Mohawk River in Schenectady months later. The suspect has pleaded not guilty. Concert goers looking to save money on shows at Empower Federal Credit Union Amphitheater at Lakeview will be able to do so. Live Nation is offering a $30 ticket to summer deal that'll include discounted tickets for concerts including Avril Lavigne, Luke Bryan, Creed, Little Big Town, Thomas Rhett, and more. Seating will vary and there's a limit on how many tickets can be purchased per event. The sale begins May 21st at 10 a.m. through Ticketmaster. And fans of the Buffalo Bills now have some dates they can circle on their calendars. The NFL released its 2025 schedule last night, and the defending AFC East champions start their season at Highmark Stadium against the Baltimore Ravens. The Bills also have another showdown with the AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs, who knocked them out of the playoffs this season. Buffalo will also take on the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Your Weather Center forecast is next. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
Not getting outlooked for great chances of severe storms, or at least in a marginal risk of an isolated stronger storm here as we head on through the next couple of days. So just be on your guard. Warm weather to the tune of 78 degrees today, this morning. A lot of cloud around this afternoon. We'll start to see that shower thunderstorm threat, but scattered around into early tonight. Then clearing overnight, 60, 50s in the Adirondacks. A few showers, thunderstorms tomorrow, 82. I'm Ray Stajic at the Weather Channel on WIBX, 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, here we are, 100 days of the second run of President Trump. And John Zogby on right now from Zogby Strategies. And good morning, John. You're here with Jeff Manaskis in this morning as well. Good morning.
Hey, Jeff. Hi, Bill. How are you?
Good.
Good morning, John.
I wanted to start you with the, it is funny, and I think I saw a bit, one of the late night guys talking about how, and I do think Democrats did the same thing when Biden would go off and not sound, he was incoherent, basically. Democrats would be like, well, he's always been like this. He's always, he's the gaffe king. And when Trump says something like, the difference between this term and my last time as president is back then I had people in my way, and now I rule the country and the world. And Republicans say, he says crazy stuff. Words don't matter anymore, it seems, or lack thereof.
Well, they don't matter if our guy says it.
Yes, right.
That is true. And morality doesn't matter if our guy says it.
Yep.
So, and unfortunately, that's where we're at. But if we step aside and take a look at public opinion, and that's what I do, you're seeing his numbers suffer. Now, I don't think we're in an era where numbers are ever going to suffer down into the low 30s and the 20s, as say under Jimmy Carter. But we are in a position where we can see measurably that here's a guy who last November actually won a majority of the popular vote, something that a Republican has not done in quite a while, and has not only lost that majority, but has lost, given his approval rating, 8, 9, 10 points off of that during what is supposed to be historically a honeymoon period.
Yeah.
So it's not a successful 100 days.
I find that the one poll item, the one poll question he is doing well on, or better, depending on which poll you look at, is the issue of immigration. And I do find it seems like we've rid the country of gang members. We've got them all. And now you're seeing people who are not gang members who are here illegally. And it gets tricky when you have this latest situation where 2 children are American citizens, or 3 children, I believe it was, are American citizens, and the mother is being deported. And I find it odd that we can actually look at that and say, well, she wanted her kids to go with her. Well, really what she wanted was to stay in the country. And any mother would say, well, if I have to go, I'm taking my kids with me. So I think it's these stories that risk changing at least some people that are in the middle when it comes to immigration. But his numbers are really strong, and the border is practically quiet now, the southern border.
Yeah, it is. And it's interesting that he had President Bukele from El Salvador up with him a couple weeks ago. Bukele is a dictator and is credited with reducing violent crime in El Salvador by 90%. And that's because what he's done is he's imprisoned about 90% of young men between the ages of 14 and 35. That's certainly one way to reduce crime and reduce it dramatically, but there are a lot of innocent men also in those torture chambers. And, you have to take a look at the policy here. That's a big dragnet that we're using. And even when there is, quote, an administrative mistake, unquote, there isn't the flexibility on the part of this administration to say, oops, we'll look into where there may be other innocent people and bring them back. He's on automatic pilot on this policy, and it is starting to catch up with him. Yes, he's getting better marks on immigration than anything else, but those better marks were not where they were, even a month ago.
Your headline here, poll alert, Trump's dropping numbers among key voters. Who are those voters?
Well, for starters, he won independents. Now, Biden had won independents in 2020. Trump won independents, and now he's down by 11 points among independents. That's a critical group. It's not enough for him to stay in control and be losing independents. He's always going to have his base. Although you're starting to see maybe a little bit of that Republican base chipping away. But certainly independents, he had done well with Latino voters, and now a majority of Latino voters give him a negative approval rating or would have preferred Kamala Harris over him, as one of the ways that we asked the question. Younger voters, he's starting to lose support among younger voters. He did better than most Republicans do among black voters, and now he's lost about 10 points among black voters as well.
I'd like your take on this comment. Rob from the Valley says, no one is above the law, including that mother. I'm sorry. So that does seem to be because the country is pretty much divided. I think the Fox poll shows on immigration, Trump is at like 55%. But for the most part, the country is split. But Republicans seem to be, despite these stories that are not necessarily good looks, Republicans seem to have that attitude. Listen, you're here illegally, you're breaking the law, you got to go.
Yeah, which is ironic because, and look, I don't want to sound partisan. I'm just going to step away from it.
Yeah.
You have a president and his administration that are not abiding by court decisions against them, just running roughshod over court decisions that order this gentleman in El Salvador to come back, are stopping the deportation of those with student visas and green cards, and the administration is just simply ignoring it. And so I think there's a wild, wild west tone in this country that's emanating from the top.
And then finally, and I know you've got another interview coming up, I wonder, here we are at 100 days, and there are already people coming out to say, yeah, I'm running for a congressional seat. I'm going to challenge the incumbent. One would say, get the bad stuff out of the way now. Things begin to turn and look better closer to the midterms. I'm assuming that's the strategy. I'd like to know your thoughts.
Yeah, it is the strategy, but it's hard to predict from now. I think, what folks are thinking of is look at the difference between 2021, when Republicans did much better than expected in the bellwether elections, in Virginia and New Jersey. And then Democrats went on, to do very well in the congressional elections. I think there's a sense that by Democrats, be prepared now, because the tide will turn, the president will burn himself out. But Trump has been very resilient. It's very interesting that you're seeing him changing, softening even some of his policies on tariffs, on deportations, and so maybe trying to play to the center a little bit. Now is the time to plan, but it's way too early to conclude.
Yeah. I would say one of the things they could do to improve is to be able to make sure they're all on the same page. Like there can be meetings going on. I think we saw that one where there was a congressional hearing going on regarding tariffs, and in the middle of the hearing, they had to show them the news alert, because Trump had backed off they put a pause on all the tariffs. They had no idea that was coming. I mean, there's a mixed messaging problem that's got to be corrected.
So far, he's been a winner. When the time has been right, or declared himself a winner. Either way, he has his loyal following. But what's going on around him is not a good scenario after the first 100 days.
John, as always, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much. We'll do it again soon.
Always good to talk to you. Take care.
Thanks. Thank you. John Zogby. Interesting, right?
BME Company Business Machines and Equipment has been delivering office solutions for businesses in upstate New York for over 30 years. Their success comes from finding the right document management strategies and software solutions for streamlining workflows. Simply put, BME provides fast, reliable service at the best value to keep your business running smoothly. Through BME's strategic partnership with Hummel's Office Plus, they distribute supplies for just about every machine in your office at a great price. BME welcomes the opportunity to serve your business, selling, leasing, and service in Canon and Kyocera devices, as well as FP mailing solutions. An important part of BME's culture is supporting the communities they're fortunate to work in, and BME recognizes that support is one reason for their success. The future of business in BME's area is encouraging, and the company is grateful to be a part of that growth. Call BME Company at 315-574-8200 or visit BMEcompany.com. BME Company Office Solutions. Made simple.
The Memorial Day sale is on at Mattress Express. No one in New York State has all the brands we have. Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Sealy, Purple, Puffy, the Smart Bed by Instant Comfort, Posh and Lavish. And now we have added Simmons Beauty Rest Black, Serta, and Avocado. Hurry.
Now through May 31st, get up to $140 back by mail on a Bridgestone prepaid MasterCard. Get $70 when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires. Get an additional $70 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your CFNA credit card. Subject to credit approval, restrictions apply. See Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com or bridgestonerewards.com for details.
Your trusted man on the radio at 12 noon every day. And don't forget the TV show on Saturday nights, the one and only Jimmy Fallon on the line right now. James, Jimmy.
Hey.
Good morning.
How about it? You know what I love about the Keeler show? You were like, the great Pope Francis has passed away. Let's book a comedian.
That's right.
Now, to be clear, to be clear, we were booked before the Pope.
That is true.
happened,
That is true. But I did, immediately think, what does Jimmy think? I got to tell you, this was a shocker, I think, right?
Well, I will tell you a fun fact about me that nobody listening knows. I was visiting the Vatican, my 20th wedding anniversary with Jenny, and we were at the Vatican doing like the tour and everything, and the Pope came out. I got to see the Pope.
Wow.
Yeah, he did the in Vatican, St. Peter's Square. He did the thing on a Sunday where he went to the window, and they throw the blanket out, and you assume he's blessing you, but if you look close, he's actually giving the tourist the finger.
Yeah.
But no, it was really powerful stuff, man. And yeah, crazy. And now.
Yeah.
Go ahead. All I was going to add, Keeler, is now obviously there'll be renewed interest in that show Conclave on Netflix.
I guess there will be, yes.
Speaking as your radio buddy, the end was still terrible. This doesn't change. This does not redeem the end of Conclave. Good man, and may he rest in peace. But the show, I'm still not watching it.
Yeah, it is. I've heard that. Interesting. You went into this? Obviously, you went into the Sistine Chapel and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get yelled at for talking or taking pictures? Because we saw a lot of people get yelled at. Silence!
No, you know what?
Silencio!
Yes.
Yeah.
I was pretty well behaved when I went there. It was like one of the fleeting moments of sobriety on that vacation. Like we went on like a Monday. If they had taken me on a Tuesday or something, it would have been a different animal.
Yeah.
Thirsty
but it really
Tuesday.
is incredible stuff. Yes, it's incredible, all the art and everything else like that. And that's the most culture I've ever gotten in my life. Like, Keeler, do you know 99% of my foreign travel took place at Epcot? So
Drank
I haven't
around the
really
world.
seen a lot. There you go.
Yeah, it's amazing how you can travel around the world at Epcot. It's just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I got to say that it did seem like the Pope was recovering, but we are hearing today that his doctors said do not go out in public yet, and do not remove your oxygen. And he did both yesterday, and by this morning he passed away. Crazy.
Oh, that's heavy. I didn't know that. Here in New York, there's so much weed, everyone's blaming it on 420. And I was like, no, come on, man.
It was 420, yeah.
You can't walk a block.
And what about I don't understand the smell of the marijuana in New York. It is a completely different odor than I remember when going to a concert in the 70s. I mean, it just smells so different now.
Yeah, well, some of that's the pee in the streets. I mean,
it's the combination of the urine and the marijuana smoke. All right.
Have purple haze. This is yellow haze, unfortunately. New York's disgusting. You guys have it so good. Why do you think I'm always coming up to Utica?
That's a good point.
The second you extend the olive branch, you're like, wow, Jimmy Fallon sure comes up to Utica a lot.
Let's do it.
You're like, get the hell out of here, man. But, no, I love it up there.
And we'll talk about getting you back up here. I know that we've discussed it, and the last time up was at the Rome Capitol, and people loved it as always. You've become almost a regular up here, and you have this. I have people this morning asking, Jimmy's on. When's he coming back? When are we getting him back? So they all know.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen, and I'm so invested in our relationship. Do you know that I know how to cook greens now? I went and got my own, after eating all those Utica greens, I went and have kind of perfected my own recipe. Although I got to be honest, too many cherry peppers and oil for the last batch I cooked last Sunday.
Oh, that'll hit you.
I might have wiped out a whole dinner party for a day and a half. But nobody needed their Ozempic last week. Everybody lost the weight the old-fashioned way.
Let me tell you.
You wanted them out by 9.
That is it's so funny because it's the first thing I did when I first started working here and learned about greens. I got the recipe, making it at home. And it is like when you say escarole to somebody, they are like, ugh. And then you have Utica greens, and wow.
Oh,
yeah.
Next level.
Yeah,
next level.
So
now
good.
a Sunday staple in the Fala house.
As we call him here, Greens Morelli. Joe Morelli was a good friend who created the dish. and sadly passed away a few years back, but he is the legend who created that incredible dish. All right, speaking of a dish, we're being dished some of the craziest politics in the history of American, in the world, for God's sakes. What a crazy time to be on the radio.
Yeah, listen, I enjoy it in the sense that, there is a lot of ammunition, but I also resent it for that reason, because everybody goes like, wow, being a comic right now, being a talk show host, it must be so awesome because there's so much to work with. But wouldn't you argue there's too much to work with?
Yeah.
It's like there's so much going on. You used to be like, as a comedian, if you covered politics, it was actually a pretty lazy gig because you didn't get that much to go on,
Right.
But nowadays, they're just content factories. Trump tweets every time he gets up to pee in the middle of the night. And they get something to react to. Vance is dropping trophies. Vance hung out with the Pope yesterday. Are you telling me MSNBC isn't going to be blaming J.D. Vance by lunchtime? I mean, come on, man.
He didn't wear a mask or wash his hands.
Oh, that Vance.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what did it. So, and the other part is that I think we're so polarized. Like, even when you came up, that when you came up here at the Capitol Theater, there were people who protested. There were people saying, if you bring him up, we will never go to another show at the Rome Capitol. Like, there were threats being made. And
I love that.
And I would look at it the same way. You got to love that stuff. So
yeah, as a comic, and they're missing the point, because the people who take those positions think they're like the super patriots who care about morality in America. But if you care about America, you should recognize that the whole country was built on disagreement, tactful disagreement. That's why we have the Constitution that we do. And as much as we seem divided, understand 200 years ago, our politicians settled their differences with duels where they shot each other, and the winner lived and the loser voted Democrat in the next election somehow. But I kid, come on. But the point is, people need to relax a little bit, because you can't, and I really mean this, you cannot succeed in life with one point of view. Right. Meaning, if you build an organization and everybody has the same point of view, it doesn't have to be political. It could be anything. Yeah. At some point, you're all going to say yes to bad ideas because there's nobody from the outside lending you an alternative perspective. Yeah. So for no other reason than pure happiness and productivity, people should learn to coexist, I believe is the term, on all those bumper stickers on all those cars.
Yeah, if only they practice what they were preaching on their bumper. Right? There's not a lot of that. Let's see. Davey, anything else you need me to do? Because, Davey's handling this whole thing. I want to ask you about the TV show. And how that thing is just it's lightning every Saturday night at 10 p.m.
Thanks, man. We're up 82% year over year in the ratings.
Wow. That's awesome.
80%
Congrats.
in the it's incredible. And it's the fact that we added a live audience in January, which is closer to our natural habitat, as a comic, allows you to do a lot more. And it's going really well. And again, it's kind of an extension of what we were just saying. It's a show that kind of caters to everybody. In that, how the Super Bowl gets a lot of people who don't watch football to watch it because they want to see the commercials, they want to see the halftime show. That's what we're doing. We're doing political pop culture on Saturday night. You don't have to watch politics all week, and you could still watch the show. Yeah, because we're going to give you kind of a week in review through the lens of ridiculousness. We're not really solving problems. If you're turning to that show for answers, it's already beyond saving for you.
And I do,
but you'll have a good time.
I really do think that's the mistake SNL made a few years ago. Is they thought they were solving the world's problems. They thought they were rescuing and saving the world. In reality, it is not what you're there for, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. And comedians need a little more self-awareness. I mean, we were never supposed to be taken seriously, so we shouldn't take ourselves seriously.
Right.
It's like we're weighing in on the economy, but we entered a profession where we get paid in chicken fingers the first 5 years.
That is true.
I don't know. We're the experts here, Keeler.
How's your 401k? That is the one area where, and I do think Elon Musk has been really perfect for Trump, because he's been the guy that when someone's really angry because they just lost $200,000 in their investments, they don't have to complain about Trump. They can complain about Elon Musk, and I think he's been that scapegoat.
Yeah, it's perfect. He's absorbing, all of the heat Trump would have previously taken.
Yeah.
And that part has been convenient. And the thing about, even the market, when it goes down like that, if you don't sell it, like in your 401k, it comes back around.
Right.
You got to live. You just got to live beyond the moment, And unfortunately, a lot of people don't know how anymore because you get the news. It is a fire hose.
Yeah.
When we were little kids, you might have read the newspaper in the morning if it got delivered to your house, like it did at mine. Mm-hmm. You might have watched the 5 o'clock news, and you were done with it.
Right.
But now the news is literally playing when you go to a urinal in the men's room.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you cannot escape the news.
Yeah.
And for that reason, the psychology of it makes people, I think, overreact a lot. So if we could dial it back, I know I shouldn't tell you that as a guy who works at the news channel.
No.
If we could dial back our news consumption, we might be better off.
I completely 1,000 times agree. It's and it changes so quickly. If you just wait, very much like the stock market, right? They say don't go panicking. Don't jump out. You wanna stay the course. You're going to be fine. I really think the same is with the news cycle because it's going to change 20 times before you, just wait for it all to happen, and then you just get one version of it. And usually it's the accurate version. If there are people who want to come to New York and sit in your studio audience, how do they do that?
Well, it's always free. We post it on the website. But if you go to foxacrossamerica.com, you can click on that link and register for tickets. It's free. The only thing you really got to do is make it through security, which half of my fans can't. But for those that can, we have a lot of close calls most nights. But if you go to the website, foxacrossamerica.com, you could register for free tickets. You can come hang out, meet the Fox crew. And something I do, Keeler, because I'm like an actual man of the people, is when the show is over, we tape the show Friday nights for Saturday. That's how it works most weeks. This week we're live because of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, but most weeks we tape Friday nights. And we go next door to the bar, Langan. So if you come to a live taping of the show, I take the whole audience to the bar for one drink after the show. So I think everyone can take their selfies and all that.
That's neat.
That is so cool. You. I love it.
Oh,
I love it. Love it. All right, man. We'll be watching, listening today, of course, every day at noon here on WIBX. We appreciate it.
Rock and roll. Good talk, everybody.
Right, thanks so much. Have a great day. Thanks.
We're the power and power equipment. White's Farm Supply.
At Kubota, we want to help you deliver a job done right. That's why we want you to know that new Kubota inventory is arriving daily. You have work to do. We have the reliable, durable, and versatile lineup to help you do it. Visit us at whitesfarmsupply.com.
We're the power and power equipment. White's Farm Supply.
Spring cleaning is underway everywhere, but spring greening tops the list in Old Forge. Your Adirondack backyard is ready for Memorial Day when we honor our troops who made the ultimate sacrifice. Memorial Day weekend, we launch the summer season with the Great Adirondack Garage Sale throughout our communities. We have something for the whole family. Hiking, biking, boating, dining, and shopping, or just kick back and enjoy the scenery. Check out all the possibilities at oldforgeny.com.
Hello, everyone in Central New York. This is Dave Letterman, your old TV pal. Remember me? I'm supposed to say something witty and funny here about Bill Keeler, but I've got nothing. Ever see a picture of this guy? That's a joke in itself. Anyhow, here's Keeler on WIBX.
Let's go to the phone lines. Phone number 315-736-0186. Wayne in Utica. Good morning, Wayne. Good morning.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How you doing? What's happening?
Well, first, I started out the day by trying to go fishing on the Oriskany Creek, and the part that I fish, I had to cross over almost up to my knees, and I get over to the spot, and where I normally stand is not there.
Oh, because the high water.
Yeah, every time I cast out, it's coming right back to the shore. So
yeah.
I'm not going to fish today.
Wayne, by the way, for those that may not know, is a big. You fish how many days a week do you fish?
twice if I can. I try to go in before work or after I take my son to school. I go for like an hour and a half, and do what I can.
You've sent us
and then leave.
some pictures of some amazing fish. Yeah, but I got to tell you, it rained and rained and rained. It's the water is still really, really high, even with a couple of days of sunshine. It's still wet out there.
I'm afraid that I'm going to end up down by you guys and come up in Lock 20 there.
That's right.
If I
It'll wash you away.
Go over to my spot, yeah. So I wanted to tell you a quick story about this whole beaver thing. This Good Samaritan that turned it in.
This is very interesting because we're talking about the beaver that ended up
that was missing,
that escaped
cauliflower.
The zoo, cauliflower. That we've now found is deceased. All right, but you think you spotted him days before?
I know.
Okay.
Because I know. As I was coming home from work, it was about 11:51 on the 3rd, and I looked over and I go, wow, I've seen a lot of roadkill, but I've never, I know what a beaver looks like, and I know what a woodchuck. And anyways, I'm looking over just as you get before the French Road turn there on Route 12. I'm looking. I'm like, did this beaver make it over? And I'm looking over. I said, it is. It's a beaver. So when I identified it, I pulled over. I turned around. I called up the zoo. The girl that answered didn't act like she could care less. She goes, wait a minute. Let me get you to the exhibit, blah, blah, blah. She puts me on a loop. Nobody answers. The lady that's supposed to be at the exhibit is probably out drinking coffee. Anyways, nobody answers. So I call back. I said, listen, the only thing I'm trying to do here is let you know that your beaver is laying dead on the side of Route 12. And just have somebody, I don't want to get in between. I'm letting you know. Go over and get it before it's,
before somebody takes
rotted.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, go over and just.
When I say somebody takes it, at some point the town will, or whoever maintains there will.
Beaver collectors.
Well, the beaver collectors.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome.
W295EI.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. A Town Square media station.
He'll soon arrive in the United Arab Emirates. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That'll be President Trump's third and final stop on this Middle East trip, wrapping up a trip to Qatar with a rally.
You are, without a doubt, the greatest fighting force in the history of the world.
The commander-in-chief addressing American troops at an air base.
We love and respect you. This is what you're doing, the service you do for your country. You keep us safe.
All the soldiers and airmen here at Al Udeid, giving the president numerous standing ovations. It's been a very busy trip. The theme has been commerce. The president's been saying it's commerce, not conflict. But the president says he's here to do deals.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson traveling with the president, who says this trip that started in Saudi Arabia is bringing in more than $1 trillion in investments into the U.S. and American companies. Earlier in Qatar, the president also again talked about trying to work out a deal to denuclear Iran.
Iran has sort of agreed to the terms. They're not going to make, I call it in a friendly way, nuclear dust. We're not going to be making any nuclear dust in Iran.
Again, warning the U.S. could take military action if necessary to prevent Iran from building nuclear weapons. President Trump will not go to Turkey like he had hinted he could to join ceasefire talks between Russia and Ukraine. Its President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived a few hours ago, but Russian leader Vladimir Putin's a no-show.
He's the only Moscow representative President Zelensky is prepared to talk to directly, so it appears these long-awaited negotiations will for now happen at a lower level. It's not even clear what the timings are. Russian sources reportedly say the talks are today. The Ukrainians believe it's tomorrow. Critics of the Kremlin say all this suggests the Russians are not serious about peace.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. The new U.S. tariffs President Trump imposed on China and other countries will cost shoppers more at Walmart. The giant retailer says after profit dropped in the first quarter, it'll raise some prices because of tariff costs. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. I've added another burner to my very large collection of defense products. Why? Because Burner just launched their new compact launcher, the smallest, most compact launcher to date, and I'll be taking it with me everywhere I go. It's the same size as a smartphone, allowing you to conceal carry comfortably and with confidence. It fires 400 feet per second with 41 joules per square inch of stopping power. The size is perfect for women who want protection but can't carry a firearm. It's equipped with tear gas and kinetic ammunition. It's designed to incapacitate an attacker for 30 to 40 minutes. And Burner is legal in all 50 states. There's no background check required. It can be shipped directly to your door. And Byrna is trusted by hundreds of police departments and government agencies worldwide. And Byrna is proudly American, each unit hand-assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Visit byrna.com today, or you can simply try before you buy by finding a Byrna dealer and a partner near you. That's byrna.com.
For a third day, an ex-girlfriend of Sean, Diddy Combs, will testify at the rapper and music producer's federal trial in New York City.
When Cassie Ventura returns to the stand, defense attorney Mark Agnifilo said infidelity will be the focus of his line of questioning, telling the media there are text messages that show she was unfaithful to Combs. During the prosecution's direct examination, details of the end of the relationship were disclosed. Ventura said it led her to rehab and therapy and to sue Combs, alleging years of rape and abuse. That suit was settled for $20 million. Also on Wednesday, the judge and jury saw images of the freak-off parties. Combs is on trial accused of sex trafficking and racketeering. He's pleaded not guilty. In New York City, Gernal Scott, Fox News.
On Wall Street, we are seeing stock futures falling more than 100 points for the Dow and the NASDAQ. In the NBA playoffs, the Minnesota Timberwolves advance to the Western Conference Finals, knocking out Golden State with a 121-110 Game 5 win. Boston beat New York 127-102, so the defending champion Celtics stay alive, forcing a Game 6 with the Knicks. On the ice, overtime drama.
Sets up Nurse, shoots, save made by Hill. He does a snow angel in the blue paint. It's on the goal line, score! It's over! The series
Kasperi Kapanen won it for Edmonton on ESPN. The Oilers shut out Vegas 1-0 to advance to the NHL Western Conference Final. The defending champion Florida Panthers beat Toronto 6-1 to take a 3-2 series lead. Golf's next major tournament, the PGA Championship, underway at Quail Hollow in North Carolina.
Rory McIlroy will try to win his second major of the season following his victory at the Masters to capture his career Grand Slam, becoming just the sixth golfer ever to do so. And while he's had the most success at Quail Hollow in his career, he is not the betting favorite.
And that's Fox's Tony Genualdo. Scotty Scheffler's the favorite. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Good morning. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM news time is 8:05. I'm Megan Stone with your news update, brought to you by the new destination Kia of Utica, Commercial Drive, Yorkville. 66 degrees and mostly cloudy right now. Your full WIBX Weather Center forecast is next. Governor Kathy Hochul is speaking out against National Grid's plan to raise rates for its upstate New York customers. Now, a proposed deal between the utility company and state regulators would bump up rates for the typical household by 20% over the next 3 years. Natural gas users would see a 27% spike during that same time period. Hochul says that is not okay and that National Grid must find a way to cut costs. The Public Service Commission is accepting comments on this proposal through June 25th. Price Chopper and Market 32, as well as Big Y, are issuing a recall of a product that's sold at its stores in New York, Massachusetts, and Connecticut due to a possible listeria contamination. The supermarket chain says the recall involves select Market 32 by Price Chopper brand pre-made chicken wraps that can be found in the deli food fare section. The affected wraps are Chicken Caesar, Buffalo Chicken, and Chicken Bacon Ranch. The wraps are no longer available for purchase, but anyone who bought one should throw it out for a return or return it for a refund. You could read more about this on WIBX950.com. Albany police have charged a 13-year-old girl following violent threats that targeted Myers Middle School. Officers went to the school Tuesday night to investigate a threat received from the social media platform Snapchat that claimed bombs would be placed throughout the building and there would be a school shooting. That building was searched and deemed safe, but there were extra police on hand yesterday as a precaution. The girl is expected to appear at Albany County probation at a later date. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is still in the lead of a fresh poll analyzing the race for mayor. A Marist survey shows 37% of likely Democratic primary voters would rank Cuomo first in the ranked choice voting system among a crowded field of Democrats for the upcoming primary. Zohan Mamandi places second with 18% ranking him as first choice. City Council President Adrian Adams comes in third place. And Mayor Eric Adams is not part of the primary because he is running as an independent. And drug overdose deaths are declining in the U.S. According to the CDC, there were 30,000 fewer drug overdose deaths in 2024, marking the largest one-year decline ever recorded. Experts say more research needs to be done to understand what drove the reduction, but mention several possible factors, including increased availability of the overdose reversing drug naloxone, expanded addiction treatment, and shifts in how people use drugs. However, annual overdose deaths are higher than where they were before the COVID-19 pandemic. Louisiana, Michigan, New Hampshire, Ohio, Virginia, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Washington, D.C. all saw overdose deaths fall by at least 35%. Your WIBX News Time is 8:08. Here is your Weather Center forecast.
Not getting out, looked for great chances of severe storms, or at least in a marginal risk of an isolated stronger storm here as we head on through the next couple of days. So just be on your guard. Warm weather to the tune of 78 degrees today, this morning. A lot of cloud around this afternoon. We'll start to see that shower thunderstorm threat, but scattering around into early tonight. Then clearing overnight, 60, 50s in the Adirondacks. A few showers, thunderstorms tomorrow, 82. I'm Ray Stagik at the Weather Channel on WIBX, 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Right now it is 66 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Let's take a look at sports. Sports brought to you by IBEW 43 Local Sports Desk. The full NFL schedule is finally out. The league released the entire 2025-26 slate of games on Wednesday. Notable matchups in Week 1 include Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers battling Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in Brazil, while Josh Allen and the Bills square off against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens on Sunday Night Football from Baltimore. A Super Bowl rematch between the champion Eagles and runner-up Chiefs takes place in Week 2 from Kansas City. Meanwhile, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys will be featured on Thursday for a league record 4 times this season. Another team has locked up a spot in the NBA's conference finals. The Timberwolves are heading back to the Western Conference Finals for the second straight year following a 121-110 win over the Warriors in Game 5. In other action, the Celtics kept their season alive with a 127-102 victory over the Knicks in Game 5. The playoff action continues tonight with the Nuggets playing host to the Thunder in Game 6 in the Mile High City. OKC leads the best-of-7 series 3-2. The Oilers are back in the Western Conference Finals for ice hockey. Edmonton became the first team to clinch a spot in the conference finals after eliminating the Golden Knights with an overtime victory in Game 5. Panthers are 1 win away from going back to the Eastern Conference Finals. The defending Stanley Cup champions blew out the Maple Leafs in Game 5 of their best-of-7 second-round series. Florida leading the series 3-2 and will host Toronto for Game 6 Friday night. 2 games on the slate tonight. The Capitals trailing the Hurricanes 3-1, entering Game 5. The Stars visit the Jets for Game 5, also up 3-1. Xander Schauffele hopes to defend his title at the PGA Championship in Charlotte. Schauffele won last year's tournament by 1 stroke after finishing atop the leaderboard at 21 under par. He will be alongside Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler for the first 2 rounds. Jordan Spieth is looking to complete the career Grand Slam. He has already won the Masters, the U.S. Open, and the Open Championship. The Yankees captured their rubber match against the Mariners after rallying for a 3-2 win in their finale from Seattle. Aaron Judge hit a go-ahead solo homer in the top of the 8th to bring his season total to 15. They lead the AL East. Mets unable to complete their sweep after being shut out by Pittsburgh in their series finale from Queens 4-0. Clay Holmes suffered the loss after allowing the 4 runs on 7 hits and 1 walk. New York is leading the NL East. They visit the Yankees for a 3-game series that begins tomorrow night in the Bronx. Your WIBX News Time is 8:11, 66 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
Now through May 31st, get up to $160 back by mail on a Firestone prepaid MasterCard. Get up to $80 when you buy a set of 4 eligible Firestone tires. Get up to an additional $80 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your CFNA credit card. Subject to credit approval, restrictions apply. See Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com or firestonerewards.com for details.
Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company is excited to announce the return of the 24th annual Adirondack Paddle Fest and Gear Expo. This highly anticipated event will return to Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Route 28 in Old Forge, May 16th through the 18th. Join us for sales on outdoor gear, clothing, and boats. We'll have food, craft beer, music, kids' activities, and more. Shop over 1,000 canoes, kayaks, and SUPs from the leading manufacturers and hundreds of accessories to choose from. Representatives representatives and vendors will be on hand to help you choose what is best for your paddling needs. Gear up for all your outdoor adventures with discounts on outdoor gear, footwear, and clothing for the whole family. Shop your favorite brands and get great deals this weekend only at Patagonia, Teva, North Face, MSR, and more. Follow Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Facebook and Instagram for updates or for all your local outdoor needs.
At Steve Pawnee Chevrolet in Herkimer, we proudly salute those who serve. Right now, military members, active, reserve, or retired, can receive an additional $750 rebate as our way of saying thank you. Looking for a powerful new Chevy truck? Check out the 2025 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LT 4-wheel drive. Now with 0.9% financing for 60 months, plus a whopping $6,750 in total rebates. Or explore our huge selection of Car Bravo certified pre-owned vehicles with financing as low as 4.99% for up to 72 months. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, together, let's drive to Steve Pawnee Chevrolet in Herkimer, where it's always easy to do business. With approved top-tier credit through GM Financial, Silverado offer requires 2011 or newer trade-in and 2011 or newer Chevrolet in household. Must be active, reserve, or retired military. Taxes and fees due at delivery. Offers end May 31st. See dealer for complete details.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices. I used to have real issues with my liver. My doc was concerned about my numbers, but since adding a once-a-day active liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of active liver.
Go to NORDICUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for active liver at your local CVS.
This is Shannon Bream. Join me for Fox News Sunday as we sit down with a diverse and dynamic group of guests featuring interviews with political, business, and public affairs newsmakers from the U.S. and abroad. All part of the Sunday political block from Fox News Radio. Fox News Sunday, every Sunday, right here on this station.
Fox News Sunday, airing 11 a.m. every Sunday, only on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Real talk.
This is Bill Keeler.
It's Brian Kilmeade. Hey, girl. Jimmy Fallon in the house. Sean Hannity.
This is Guy Benson.
News you can trust. This is WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
This is Keeler in the morning. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Okay, in Albany, it continues the budget battle. This is not your traditional Republican versus Democrat budget battle. This is Democrat versus Democrat. That's really what's going on here.
Yep.
The Democrats are fighting amongst themselves, and there are a couple of issues. It is the access to mental health and the issues that really law enforcement are dealing with today, that oftentimes it's either drugs or it's mental health.
Yep.
And unfortunately, the drugs creates a mental health situation. And then the discovery laws is another problem that is you'll see DAs and sheriff's departments around the area saying they just don't have the people to keep up. The DA's office doesn't have the people to keep up with all of the paperwork, and then people are being released on technicalities. Yeah. People who have been charged with some pretty tough crimes. On the line right now is Sheriff Todd Hood, who is the sheriff, of course, in Madison County. Sheriff, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Bill. How are you?
Good. So what are you feeling any bit of optimism? Because I have a feeling we're going to be talking about, well, they didn't fix it, but it's better than it was before. It's kind of like the roof isn't leaking as bad as it was, but
yeah, this is like reoccurring in New York State, and it goes right down the line. You know, the whole tax, raise the age bail reform. The only thing these legislations benefit are criminals.
I know.
That's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything for law enforcement or for the safety of New York citizens. So,
well, and
yeah,
look at. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but look at the prison crisis we're dealing with, and you now have it's gotten so bad and so out of control. Look at the mess. It's all really. I think a lot of this stems from all of these laws and rules that are tying the hands of authorities.
Bill, just think about this. That HALT Act in our prisons and our county jails prohibits us from locking inmates in for a certain period of time, even when they're out of control. They have to be out of their cell. The frustration that the corrections officers go through by not having those tools.
Yeah.
We send our children to the room sometime for a timeout when they were little, correct? And now we have grown, violent people in prison that they're not allowed to do that. The frustration level rises, the stress level rises, and then you have a disaster.
Yeah.
So instead of fixing the disaster now, they're just going to let them out. They're searching to see how they can get these prisons, and it's just an accountability issue in New York State. They just keep taking it away where there's no consequences for bad behavior or committing a crime. It's very frustrating.
It's funny how you make the comparison to children, and the philosophy that's coming out of Albany. And not just Albany, it's really across the country. We're becoming. I do think it's cyclical, but the philosophy is we don't punish. We incentivize. And I think that same philosophy has been used as part of the HALT Act in our prisons and jails. And the fact is, sometimes you got to punish sometimes. I mean, and that's why they're in jail in the first place.
Right. Yeah. Bad behavior where they have to get away from society, get rehabilitated, serve their sentence, and hopefully come back better. But just by letting them out when, there's no reason to let them out or they're dangerous, you're endangering the public.
Well, let me ask you your thoughts on discovery laws. That's been a real problem. The DAs around the state, and it doesn't matter whether it's in a blue area or a red area, all saying that this has really tied their hands. Obviously, you'll hear from defense attorneys that say, I'm good with it. But DAs are saying this. People are being released on technicalities because we can't keep up.
Yeah. So here's a great fact for you. The number of cases dismissed for speedy trial violations went from 10,562 in 2019 when bail reform started. So that's 10,562 to 49,974 in 2024. Wow. That statewide is a 373% increase in cases dismissed for speedy trial.
Now, that can be everything from nonviolent to violent.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, what is the answer? And I know that some changes are supposed to come out of this budget and policy in the budget. Are you confident? I mean, I know the Sheriff's Association has endorsed the changes that the same ones that the DAs have endorsed, but both saying it's still not enough. It's better than nothing, but it's not enough. What are your thoughts?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. We've been kicked around so bad in law enforcement and corrections. It's like any change can help. But I'll tell you what the greatest change of all would be is to repeal all this nonsense, all the legislation. And we're just overrun in Assembly and Senate in New York State. And I have to remind myself all the time, the majority of New Yorkers voted for this, and it's not upstate New York. The population of 1 square mile in Manhattan is around 70,000 people. That's my population of all of Madison County. So 1 square mile down there of voters equals 640 square miles of upstate New York and Madison County, and we just can't keep up with the vote down there. And apparently, a lot of these Assembly and Senate people have people in prison that they're trying to take care of by letting them out here. I have no idea what the mentality is, but it's just no accountability.
Well, you had the one assemblyman from New York City who was a tenant of one of our prisons, and he came up and really caused trouble and created a very, very dangerous situation. And somehow the prison system allowed him to spend the night to get a family. What are we doing here?
Yeah, and how can that happen? Somebody who is obviously contentious for the system now because he's been in there, gets elected, not a surprise down there with that kind of background, and now he's going to wreak havoc, as you said, on the system, just for a little bit of revenge.
Sheriff, one of the things that I think really needs to be done is that, decades ago we decided, we were going to close down all the psych centers and somehow to free these people on the streets to be to be themselves. And I really think, and I know the interactions that law enforcement must have on a daily basis in regards to people who have mental issues in regards to it. And I know this, involuntary confinement probably isn't the most popular thing or whatever, but in some way, shape, or manner, we need to do it not only for, society, but for these people themselves in regards to it, to be able to hopefully get them back on the right track. Because this isn't urban camping, okay? And these dealing with this is just it's terrible.
It really is. And, you hit the nail right on the head. We need psychiatric centers where we can put people and they can be admitted to. So we have a list of about 20 in New York State that we have to use for our correctional facility. The state used to pay half the bill. When they come in and they're deemed a mental issue, we have to get them trial ready when they go in. So the lowest rate per day in a New York State psychiatric center is $1,151 per day. For some of the children's services, that goes up to $3,560 per day. And then one of the high-end adult ones is $642. I just had an inmate that we had to get trial ready for 2 months in one of the psychiatric centers. It cost me $111,000.
Wow.
And the state used to pay half the bill. They don't pay any of it now. It's all on the counties. And I keep saying, they're closing down state prisons all over the place. Make one of them in central New York a psychiatric center, where we can have a place to put people to get them help.
Right.
And you're seeing it, and it's an increase. That's why we're dealing with an increase in the homelessness. I mean, there are communities like in the city of Utica where we just never saw anything like what we've seen in the last 5 years, because these are people that used to be getting services on their meds, and there was an institution to take care of them, and that's gone.
And there's somebody's son or daughter or brother and sister.
Yep, there's no doubt.
Yep.
Okay, well, we've done a good job of complaining about everything, Sheriff. And
hey, you know what? It was very therapeutic for me to get that.
We'll send the bill.
It's
please do.
It felt good for us too, just so you know. So, well,
boy, that's great.
I almost feel like that's the best we've got because, and interestingly, you do have it's upstate Democrats that are arguing with downstate Democrats right now, which is why this budget is late. I think we're outnumbered. I don't know where we're going here, so we will see.
I don't want to be a bummer. But the Sheriff's Association just released, New York State Sheriff's Association, 8 more of the laws that they're wheeling out.
Okay.
And it's more of the same madness. The first one's the elder parole bill, where if you're over 55, you have to get let out of prison for your sentence. I got to tell you, I've dealt with people in my career that murdered their wives, went to the hospital and actually killed them in the hospital after they tried to kill them outside. People like that are going to be eligible for parole to get out of here. And I'll tell you, at age 56, I'm pretty sure I could commit a crime at age 56 right now. And they're going to be letting all these people out too.
Listen, this is unbelievable. I feel so empowered at 60.
I'm 71. The things I can do.
Terrible,
Lord.
And especially with a weapon, with guns and everything.
The great equalizer.
Yeah, at 50, just because they're 55 now, they want to let them out, and they're going to try to make parole like mandatory. Like parole is an entitlement; you don't have to earn it to get out of state prison. And there's just more and more on the medically assisted treatment, giving them the Suboxone and the drugs in jail. So.
Well, and you know what? Senator Griffo used to always talk about this and say, "I'm warning people." Make sure you get out there and vote. If we were to lose our majority in the Senate, there will be no there will be no normalcy. All this stuff will be free to pass. And that's exactly what has happened. So, all right.
Very true words.
Interesting. All right. Thank you, Sheriff, for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Hey, you guys have a great day. Stay safe.
You do the same. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. That's Madison County Sheriff Todd Hood. Chris wants to comment. I'm sorry I didn't get you to the sheriff, but good morning, Chris.
Hey, Bill. How are you?
Good morning, Christian.
Yes.
How are you? What's going on? Is there an update on your case?
No, I'm still waiting. They had till the 9th. No, but I just wanted to comment on the sheriff, his comments on, the DAs, how hard it is for them. Oh, gee whiz, what a sad story. But what he doesn't seem to understand is that when the DA does not provide the defense with all of the discovery, the defense cannot properly defend themselves.
Right.
It's not about helping the, quote, criminals. You're not a criminal till you're convicted. But when you're on trial and the DA does not give you all of the information, you don't have the full story. Do you understand that?
Can I tell you one thing? This is the first time, this is the very first time that I can honestly say that you are on the same page with Frank Policelli. Yeah. Frank completely agrees with you on this. He feels, as a defense attorney, that he feels it levels the playing field. Now, the DAs don't feel the same way, but, we'll see.
That's because the DAs, they want everything their way. You see, they want a nice, easy road to victory. They don't want to have to fight. And that's the problem they have with me right now. They get in that ring, they're getting knocked out cold, see, because they cheated me the first time. And Policelli and Malachi aided them in their cheating of me. That's okay.
Well, you don't agree there.
It's me.
All right.
What?
I said you don't agree with Policelli there, but let's...
Policelli and I, look, I can agree with him on a lot of things, but he knows what he did to me, okay? And I'll leave that there.
All right. Well, let's see. I hope you update us when your case develops, and I know it's coming soon.
Well, I'll tell you what. Friday, May 9th, expect a call from me, and I'll tell you exactly what's going on. How's that?
All right, Christian, thank you for the update.
All right, thanks,
Have
Bill.
a great day. Okay. I'm going to take a quick break.
We're your neighbors, friends, and your family. We care about our community, your business, and most important, you.
We support charities like the United Way, McMahon Ryan Child Advocacy Center. We are the members of IBEW Local 43 and NECA Contractors. You don't just see our work, you live it. From the JMA Wireless Dome, hospitals, schools, and city buildings, the IBEW is part of the community.
Central New York's future is bright, and the IBEW Local 43 and NECA will continue to help light, power, and grow Central New York.
Don't miss Clinton Tractor Spring Sales Event. We're giving you the best deals of the season on all of our inventory. Thousands of used and new equipment in stock, all in one location. Get 0% financing on new Ferris commercial mowers, Massey Ferguson, and New Holland equipment, and trailers and used equipment as low as 5.49%. Restrictions apply. We're giving you the best deals of the season. It's Clinton Tractor Spring Sales Event.
We are the leader in service, Clinton Tractor.
ClintonTractor.net.
Celebrate AmeriQ Credit Union's 75th anniversary with an extra 0.75% off your auto and rec loans. Apply today at ameriq.org/loan sale.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone with your news update brought to you by Clinton Tractor, the leader in service. Visit clintontractor.net. A Utica man was arrested on grand larceny and burglary charges. According to Utica police, officers were called to the 1700 block of Genesee Street for reports of a stolen skid steer. The victim told police an unknown man broke into a storage facility and stole the equipment. Police found social media postings advertising the sale of the stolen skid steer and learned it was being sold by someone who had purchased it from the suspect. Police were able to use this to find the original culprit and arrested 33-year-old Mersad Dolik. He was arrested and charged with third-degree burglary and third-degree grand larceny. Governor Kathy Hochul says those inflation refund checks should be in the mail. by October. The governor added additional information to the controversial idea, which would send checks up to $400 to 8.2 million eligible households statewide. An estimated 198,000 Mohawk Valley residents and 156,000 of those in North Country should expect a check. She said residents need not sign up, apply, or do anything to receive the check. The refunds will go by state tax records from 2023 to determine eligibility. Checks will be mailed in October and should continue through November. Classes at Charles W. Baker High School in Baldwinsville will resume today following a Chromebook fire. Smoke was reported in a computer classroom yesterday and the building was evacuated. Officials are looking into whether the fire was a result of the Chromebook Challenge social media trend where students use objects and jam them into the laptop, which may cause them to ignite. Last week, the district sent a message out warning people about the dangers of the challenge. And the Congressional Budget Office says millions will go uninsured under the Medicaid portions of the new federal spending bill. The nonpartisan agency released estimates Tuesday saying the Medicaid cuts would lead to over 10 million Americans losing health coverage and over 7.5 million going uninsured. Republican lawmakers are calling for work requirements for those on Medicaid and say the changes will streamline the program and allow it to better focus on serving the most vulnerable beneficiaries. Your Weather Center forecast is next. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
Not getting out, looked for great chances of severe storms, or at least in a marginal risk of an isolated stronger storm here as we head on through the next couple of days. So just be on your guard. Warm weather to the tune of 78 degrees today, this morning. A lot of cloud around this afternoon. We'll start to see that shower thunderstorm threat, but scattering around into early tonight. Then clearing overnight, 60, 50s in the Adirondacks. A few showers, thunderstorms tomorrow, 82. I'm Ray Stagik at the Weather Channel on WIBX, 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Dave Only is our guest host here this morning. David, you brought a guest along here this morning.
Yeah, this morning brought in Mike Crosley. Mike is here for a couple of reasons, actually. In honor of Police Week this week and next week. This week, there were names inscribed on the Memorial Wall in Albany, and coming up this current week is the Memorial in Washington, D.C., May being Law Enforcement Month. And Mike is here and talk a little bit about his brother, Kevin.
Morning, guys.
I have to get you right up nice and tight there on that.
Morning, guys.
Good morning. So, obviously, this is an important week.
Yep, it hits home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We went through some craziness April 18th or April 13th, I think it was. 2018. My brother was a police officer on duty.
Yeah.
And got clipped in Whitesboro. And ever since it's when this time comes around, we're dealing with a lot inside.
It doesn't go away. It never goes away.
It was like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
And, you think about Whitesboro, the highest speed limit in the village of Whitesboro is 30 miles an hour, and Kevin was killed in a car crash, and just absolutely horrific.
Terrible.
Yeah. There's pros and cons of it all, and, it's there's more bad than good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But we celebrate them.
Well, what you probably try to do, and it seems, is you try to celebrate by doing, trying to find something good to come out of such a senseless tragedy.
Yeah, we, I've mentally gone back and forth, for a while now. And the best way to deal with it now, being years later, is just to think about the good stuff.
Yeah.
And what we got to enjoy about them and growing up. And it's the only way.
Yeah.
You go the other route. See ya.
It's it just drags you right down.
Yeah,
right?
But it's good. You know what I mean? We love to celebrate him when we think about the funny things, and him out golfing on the golf course, and he makes snow angels in the sand traps, and you know what I mean? Just having a good time. So
we've lost so many good police officers in this area in the last decade, and I think the best way we can honor them is to not only do everything we do to not forget them and their legacy and what they did and their sacrifices, but to try to be better people in their honor, and try to walk in the steps they walked in and try to make our communities and our place better.
Yeah,
absolutely. I agree totally.
And I know you've done your organization? You've done an awful lot.
Yeah, so I'm president of the Deputy Kurt B. Wyman Foundation, and we do the motorcycle ride every year. We do the fall festival at the park. We built the park with the cooperation with the town of Whitestown.
Yeah.
The Deputy Wyman Park on Judd Road. So it's just all trying to make things a little nicer for the community and give the people here something that they didn't already have, and also to keep the memory alive of these guys. You know, Kevin served his community both in the fire department and the police department, and all he did was go to work. You know, and he had this tragic thing happen, and so now through Mike and his family, just trying to keep Kevin's legacy alive, and they're doing a great job.
So what are some of the things you may have coming up?
God, it hit so hard, you know, back in the day. And I've met so many. Another thing that it does is it brings together good people that you didn't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you start developing these great relationships. We gone ahead. I mean, with my company, I support the New Hartford Fire Department at Christmas. We give away bicycles to the kids. Whitesboro Fire Department, we just recently helped them financially with all of their barbecue. We give to the Wyman Foundation, which is, you know, obviously, you know, Dave's, you know, heading up, and then we're a prime sponsor for my brother's golf outing that'll be coming up in July.
Okay. If somebody wants to get information, is there a website, Facebook, all that?
They can go right on Facebook, the Bing Foundation. If they'd like to contribute, they can just go right into, I think, one of the apps that's in there.
I also want to mention Mike's the roofing king. So
thank you.
So with his business, he's able to take, you know, some of what he's been fortunate enough to build in his business and support these other things. And, Mike is between the tornado last year, which really kept him hopping, and then the winter we had with all the roofs and everything, and now with all this rain. We talk all the time, and just how crazy it is. And
I go hard. I'm a very, very busy man, and unfortunately.
You've been on our porch, our glorious porch.
Yes.
That was all him. Him and his dad.
Which is tremendous.
And that was very therapeutic because it was afterwards and what happened with my brother. So my dad was right there next to me the whole time. I said, listen, you getting in here.
We found him on the street, and we brought him in, and we got him.
They rolled me over and dusted me off.
Well, I got to say, I've seen the Roofing King. Your trucks all over the place.
Thank you.
They're really hard to see, though. You got to really.
They are.
They're very hard.
Mike's very humble.
Very.
Squint.
You have to squint.
And I love the fact that, you know, we always had the Window King, and initially I thought maybe there was a connection, but there is not.
No, there's not.
And you know, that opens the door to a lot of really cool commercials and artwork for the side of the trucks.
Thank you, sir.
So pretty cool.
You understand.
All right. So listen, we feel for you. Don't know, you know, no one can come to you and say, I've had an incident. I know how you feel. No one can say that.
Absolutely.
And you know, your brother was someone who decided public service and to give back to the community and to keep the area safe. And they put their lives on the line every single day, and sadly, it ended this way.
You got to be an amazing person to do what they do.
Yes,
the stuff they see, the stuff that they go through every moment.
And I'll tell you, just you know, Brian and Lynette Wyman, we've grown to be just dear friends with, and now with George and Linda, Mike's parents, just such wonderful people that didn't deserve to. Have to deal with this, and we have to do everything we can as a community to let them know we love them and we're there for them.
Thank you.
And we absolutely appreciate it all.
Down
to the core.
Yes. Golf tournament coming up in July, and
we even like to support the Dusty Puppies.
Yes.
I absolutely love them.
So tomorrow night, Station 233, 7 o'clock.
Get some. I can't believe you lost pins, because that's the place where we actually saw you perform for the first time.
Yeah, that blows my mind. But
and that's all. You know, that happened very quickly. So again, Mike, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
And look for that golf tournament on Facebook, and
absolutely
support them, and if you can. Thank you. Quick break, and we'll come back at WIBX.
Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company is excited to announce the return of the 24th annual Adirondack Paddle Fest and Gear Expo. This highly anticipated event will return to Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Route 28 in Old Forge, May 16th through the 18th. Join us for sales on outdoor gear, clothing, and boats. We'll have food, craft beer, music, kids' activities, and more. Shop over 1,000 canoes, kayaks, and SUPs from the leading manufacturers and hundreds of accessories to choose from. Representatives and vendors will be on hand to help you choose what is best for your paddling needs. Gear up for all your outdoor adventures with discounts on outdoor gear, footwear, and clothing for the whole family. Shop your favorite brands and get great deals this weekend only at Patagonia, Teva, North Face, MSR, and more. Follow Mountain Man Outdoor Supply Company on Facebook and Instagram for updates or for all your local outdoor needs.
Ferris commercial mowers set the bar with racing-inspired patented full suspension and integrated cutting decks so you can go faster, cut better, and not get beat up. Ferris Experience Suspension. Take advantage of the best financing and prices of the year. Visit us at whitesfarmsupply.com.
We're the power in power equipment. White's Farm Supply.
Now through May 31st, get up to $140 back by mail on a Bridgestone prepaid MasterCard. Get $70 when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires. Get an additional $70 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your CFNA credit card. Subject to credit approval, restrictions apply. See Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com or bridgestonerewards.com for details.
When it comes to the ones we love, their comfort and dignity matter most. That is why Hospice and Palliative Care is here for you. When you want your loved ones' wishes to be honored, when you want them to be comfortable, safe, and secure, and when you want them to be wherever they call home, Hospice and Palliative Care is the right choice. Our team of professional doctors, nurses, social workers, and bereavement counselors are dedicated to providing compassionate care every step of the way. At Hospice, your loved one is not alone, and neither are you. We are just a phone call away, ready to support you through this journey. Choose Hospice and Palliative Care, serving Oneida, Herkimer, and Eastern Madison County for the comfort and dignity your loved ones deserve. For more information, visit our website, hospicecareinc.org, or call us today at 315-735-6484. Hospice and Palliative Care, Middle Settlement Road, New Hartford, serving Oneida, Herkimer, and Eastern Madison counties.
When you need us most.
And on the line right now is Sheriff Rob Mashel. Sheriff, good morning. Thanks so much for coming on. We did want to get an update on this sheriff's deputy situation. I know this has been very difficult for your office.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, it's been a challenging time to go through. Obviously, when something like this happens, and it's just it's definitely been challenging. But things happen, and as I said yesterday, this is no reflection on the members of the Oneida County Sheriff's Office. The professionalism and dedication of the men and women there. They put their lives on the line every day, and like I said, this is no reflection on them. Certainly our thoughts are with the victims here. But this is, like I said, just a very, I guess yesterday I described it as a disappointing thing to have to deal with, certainly shocked and disheartened, because these are serious charges, and this is heinous conduct, and while on duty of all things.
Yeah.
And it's a complete betrayal of the oath of office that this individual took when he became a police officer 5 years ago.
I do want to just say the head shaker of all of it is that if you're a police officer today, if you're a deputy sheriff, you understand the technology and the tracking and the cameras and the fact that you're almost always followed in some way or tracked in some way or on camera in some way. To me, that's the head shaker here.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The fire when it broke out on the 9th of April, after a little bit later that morning, it was determined to be arson. When this individual became I guess you'd say a person of interest at the initial stages, we cooperated 100% with the investigation. Signed any waiver that the Utica Police Department needed, so they'd have access to everything that we have. Then eventually he became a suspect. The moment that happened, we suspended him with pay. And as of yesterday, I changed that to suspension without pay, but ordering the termination process to begin.
Yeah, wow. And then there's the mom, her parents, and this infant child that had to go through this trauma. I mean, it's just it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, that hour of the morning was setting the house on fire, at a point where people enter and exit. Just very, like I said, just shocked that someone would do this. And of all people, someone who's charged with keeping our community safe.
Yeah. All right, we appreciate it. Listen, this is an example that no one is above the law, period.
100% correct. No one is above the law, I think, I want to commend the Utica Police Department. They did an amazing job with this investigation. District Attorney's Office, the same thing. This was very swift. They did a ton of work on this. The district attorney put it to the grand jury. The indictment came down. Members of the New York, New Jersey Warrants Task Force actually picked him up yesterday, it was teamwork. And police officer or not, this is the way these cases are supposed to happen, and they did, and everyone did an amazing job. And like I said, we just got to navigate through this process, and certainly assist the victims here with navigating through the process too.
All right, Sheriff, we appreciate the update. Thanks for coming on today.
Sounds good, and you're doing a good job, Dave. Chief, I've been listening this morning. I wish we had something more positive to talk about, but I'm sure you'll be back for another co-host day. So.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Hey, and I just want to reiterate that the men and women, the members of the Sheriff's Office there, just do a phenomenal job every day. Yep. They're professional, and they're out there protecting people and doing the right thing, and this is just a far, far, far outlier.
Yeah, terrible.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
All right, Sheriff. Thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Have a great day.
You
Bye-bye.
do the same, Sheriff Rob Mashel.
The Potting Shed Antiques in Whitesboro is buying silver, gold-filled, vintage costume, estate jewelry, and U.S. and Canadian coins. They've been your hometown buyer for over 50 years. While other gold and silver buyers claim to offer the highest prices, the Potting Shed Antiques actually delivers. Let Don Hartman take a look at your individual pieces or your entire collection. The Potting Shed Antiques, open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Please call ahead for an appointment. Visit thepottingshedantiques.com.
Not everyone who handles your personal information is as careful as you are, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the United States. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock will monitor hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. And if your identity's stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save 40% your first year with my name, Clay, as your promo code at LifeLock.com. LifeLock. For the threats you can't control, terms apply.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Don't miss the 24th Annual Adirondack Paddle Fest and Gear Expo starting tomorrow through Sunday at Mountain Man Outdoor Supply in Old Forge. Over 1,000 plus canoes, kayaks and subs, outdoor gear, clothing, and more, plus food, craft beer, music, and fun for the whole family.
Get pumped for summer. Add smart heat pump cooling and heating to your home. Call City Suburban today. 315-864-9734 or go online to citysuburban.com. That's citysuburban.com.
Let me bring in Assemblywoman Marianne Buttonshaw, and I believe, Marianne, am I correct in saying it's over?
The state budget did pass, all 10 bills.
Okay, wow. All 10 bills passed. Good morning.
Good morning. And following Mr. Buckley is always something.
Good luck.
I can't hear.
You can. Just grab some headphones. We'll get you some headphones. Okay, Marianne. Let me ask you, what do you like? What didn't you like? Give us what you can give us in a nutshell here.
So I have 2 hours with you?
Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah.
No, so clearly many difficult aspects. I know one of your callers talked yesterday about the state ops within that bill that
the Letitia James. Yep.
Yeah, and you know what the problem is there isn't a clear answer. Can it move over into the private? So I could not support that. Obviously, if you had
those that don't know, and if you haven't seen it, there was a bill that would have possibly allowed taxpayers to be paying for a private lawsuit against Letitia James that is not anything to do with, you can't, it was a real estate deal. So totally private. And you agree there's no way that taxpayers should be paying for that.
Absolutely not. They should not be paying. And I guess to the point is we always see that someone in their capacity, as you had stated, as a state official, if they're sued, which happens quite frequently. So her name is not named in it, but more importantly, when you look deeply into the bill, it doesn't clarify if it could possibly be used for private suing. So that's why within that process, it's something that can't.
Okay. So you were unable to vote for that.
Right. And probably the most significant is when we look at, we had already talked about the importance of public protection in regards to we cannot close prisons. What we need is an independent investigation, which I carry a piece of legislation that talks to that, is if we're going to say there's a problem, we're not going to target and just say, let's just close this and it'll solve. What we need to do is look at the system as a whole. So could not support that because it just doesn't work. As far as education, I have the state aid runs, which is the funding that will come to the districts that I represent. As you look at those runs, they clearly state that none of the schools that I represent have lost funding. However, they could have lost funding within capital. So we do see some capital changes that had occurred. Within understanding the bell-to-bell did pass, there is some discrepancy or latitude that was put in there to allow districts to continue, possibly if they have a policy that they feel is working.
To keep their own policy.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just hard to say because as I commend the districts that already have taken this on and we're ready to go, and we don't want to destroy those. Within that, also a very important aspect of the unemployment insurance. As the chair of small business, after COVID, many of our small businesses were faced with the challenge of the debt. The funding that we had borrowed from the federal government and needed to pay back. So we placed that in to get that off the backs of our small businesses. Discovery.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Was also within there. But again, when all DAs but one across the state of New York approved it, then I feel that them being at the table, ensuring what they need, to me was very important. And a debate, was it watered down? I do think so. The mask, but they are confident with it, and they're the experts.
So it is. What do we know? Will what is the requirement now?
It's quite detailed. They have to maintain a timeline for disclosure of materials at 48 hours before the grand jury testimony. And the governor had a proposal of 24 hours. So it moved to 2 days instead of 1 day.
Okay.
There's exceptions that when no grand jury is available within the necessary timeline, then materials can be provided within that 24-hour period. But I would lean to our DA. He is very well involved and in tune that I think he could probably find a little bit more clearer understanding of the points.
All right. And then on the, I would like to go back to the cell phone ban at schools. Is it, do they have an opt-out? Do the school districts have an opt-out, or are there things they have to follow? It seems very ambiguous.
It is. And I think when you use the word bell to bell, so there was debate on, is it the bell to bell for the period, or is it the bell to bell? So what I envision is the district putting forward a proposal similar to, again, what many of them have already done, and determining this is what's best for our district, which was initially what we wanted instead of this.
Yeah.
It can't be done. But I don't think we're done with that. And again, my biggest fear is next year, districts coming back saying this is an unfunded mandate, and we need to make sure that we fund it, which we shouldn't.
Yeah. All right.
I would rather teachers.
I have one more question. Robert Smullen, Assemblyman on the other side of the aisle, said he feels that this budget will it will force more upstate New Yorkers to move out of New York State because of the budget. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it is a known fact. And when you look at population and individuals that have exited, yes, very important. But also, when you look at what individuals are advocating for when it comes to our schools, our CHIPS funding, and so many other aspects, that we got to make sure that if we're going to prioritize and ask people what they want, obviously we have to provide the resources. So is he correct? Is the data looking at individuals that leave the state of New York? Absolutely. But more importantly is what can we do to keep them to be here?
Yeah,
and I'm not saying, listen, it's been a fight, and I continue to fight for this area because some of the points of this, as far as the resources that are necessary, to me are not realistic. But as I told you yesterday, it's a plus and minus to look at a bill that's 1,000 pages long to say what is best for this district.
Right.
And
all right. Well, we'll hopefully get you in here next week, and we can get into it a little further. But the good news, I guess, is the budget is done.
Well, it's just, we had a deadline. We should have met it.
Yeah.
And I think more importantly, you do it in your life every day. We all should be doing it.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome, W295EI, WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
It's the last stop on the Trump trip to the Middle East. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's the fanfare the president arrived to in the United Arab Emirates a short time ago, now meeting with that country's leader. On the way there, President Trump was asked on Air Force One about ceasefire talks in Turkey, where Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky showed up today, but Russian leader Vladimir Putin did not.
Nothing's going to happen until Putin and I get together, okay? And obviously he wasn't going to go. He was going to go, but he thought I was going to go. He wasn't going if I wasn't there.
Now, before leaving Qatar, there was a Trump rally with American troops.
So I'm thrilled to be here with the men and women who embody American strength and pride, the warriors of the United States Armed Forces.
The commander-in-chief at the Al Udeid Air Base. Earlier in Qatar, the president again talked about never letting Iran build nuclear weapons. Fox's Jonathan Savage reports.
There have been several rounds of talks between American and Iranian negotiators. Now a top Iranian official says his country's prepared to never make nuclear weapons and get rid of its uranium stockpiles. President Trump telling reporters the deal is sort of agreed.
Would like to see if we could solve the Iran problem in an intelligent way as opposed to a brutal way. There's only two, intelligent and brutal. Those are the two alternatives.
Next hour, the Supreme Court will consider another challenge to the president's executive actions. This case relates to his order to end birthright citizenship, not wanting to allow children born to people in the U.S. illegally to be Americans.
The court won't be deciding the final interpretation of the Constitution's 14th Amendment. That is, the guarantee of citizenship to virtually everyone born in the U.S. The issue before the justices is whether lower court judges can block presidential governmental policies nationwide with what are known as universal injunctions.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. We just got an inflation update, and despite the warnings about tariff costs, wholesale prices dropped 0.5% last month from March, and the annual rate of producer price inflation declined in April to 2.4%. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. I've added another Burner to my very large collection of defense products. Why? Because Burner just launched their new compact launcher, the smallest, most compact launcher to date, and I'll be taking it with me everywhere I go. It's the same size as a smartphone, allowing you to conceal carry comfortably and with confidence. It fires 400 feet per second with 41 joules per square inch of stopping power. The size is perfect for women who want protection but can't carry a firearm. It's equipped with tear gas and kinetic ammunition. It's designed to incapacitate an attacker for 30 to 40 minutes. And Burner is legal in all 50 states. There's no background check required. It can be shipped directly to your door. And Burner is trusted by hundreds of police departments and government agencies worldwide. And Burner is proudly American, each unit hand-assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Visit byrna.com today, or you can simply try before you buy by finding a Burner dealer and a partner near you. That's byrna.com.
Good morning. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM news time is 9:03. I'm Megan Stone with your news update. A town of Marshall man was arrested on drug charges in Sangerfield. The Oneida County Sheriff's Office said a deputy stopped a vehicle driven by 62-year-old Douglas Brady and uncovered a quantity of crack cocaine, as well as an electronic scale and clear plastic bags during a search of his car. Brady was arrested and taken to the Kirby Wyman Law Enforcement Building, where he was charged with criminal possession of a controlled substance in the 7th degree, as well as 2 counts of criminally using drug paraphernalia in the 2nd degree. A man was killed in Lewis County earlier this week in a crash involving his dump truck. According to the Lewis County Sheriff's Office, 49-year-old David Cantor of West Turin was driving east on Lyman Road on Monday when he failed to negotiate a curb. His 1988 dump truck struck a parked trailer and an excavator along Gomer Hill Road. Cantor was airlifted via Mercy flight to Upstate University Hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. Authorities are investigating the incident. 3 ex-corrections officers at the Marcy Correctional Facility have rejected plea deals and will be going on trial for manslaughter. Prosecutors claim those officers had a role in the brutal beating death of inmate Robert Brooks last December. Because they rejected their offers, the former officers are facing up to 15 years in prison if they end up being convicted. A 4th officer did plead guilty yesterday to tampering with physical evidence and was sentenced to a year of conditional discharge. A new study claims working long hours is bad for the brain. The study, which was published in the journal Occupational and Environmental Medicine, followed 110 healthcare workers who identified as overworked or non-overworked. The data found significant changes in those who are overworked, finding they have physical and emotional overexertion and a reduction of sleep. An MRI also showed their brain had changes in the regions associated with executive function and emotional regulation. The data suggested these changes could be reversible over time, though. The WHO says overworking kills over 745,000 people a year. Your Weather Center forecast: scattered showers and thunderstorms today, high 78, stormy and wet weather continuing tonight, low 60. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM, I'm Megan Stone.
So, I'm a dog, and I'm kind of new to this family, but I've noticed a trend. My humans do this thing where they go around and get all my toys and hide them in this basket, but it's always the same basket, and it's always the same place, and then they act so surprised when I find them, but I'm like, hello? That's where you put it last time. Humans are the worst at hide and go seek.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
From high atop Fox News headquarters in New York City, always seeking solutions, never sowing division. It's Brian Kilmeade.
All right. Hi, everybody. What a trip the president's having. It's really put the news on hyperspeed. Plus, we have court cases happening. The Supreme Court's going to look at birthright citizenship. That's what Trump put on as a put out there as an executive order. Put the executive order, challenged, of course, it goes right up the courts to see if they can find, in fact, if it is constitutional or not. That is less political, more constitutional, a high-ranking argument, and we'll go over that, and especially if we see these arguments as they come out. Mike Brown's going to be with us, winner of the Great Gutfeld. What Did I Miss is going to be fun, but we also know the president has landed in the United Arab Emirates, the last leg of his journey, and there'll be breaking news there. Standing by is Senator Pete Ricketts. He is all over the Iranian deal, signing on with 40 other senators to support Trump's push to totally dismantle the Iranian nuclear apparatus. And there's all these hidden sites as well that's been exposed. The last one 2 weeks ago. Big three.
Number 3.
I know many Iranians living in New York and Washington, D.C., and they're great people. And we want to have this end peacefully, not horribly. They have to move quickly.
But we have a military option on the brink. Iran indicates movement on the nuke program. But are they just stringing us along to break out on their own? Before it's too late, direct talks, I hope, take place. Meanwhile, Russia and Ukraine are in Turkey, but it looks like Vladimir Putin is a no-show. Zelensky is there. We'll talk about it.
Number 2.
But at other times, it seemed the inner circle was doing everything they could to hide the extent to which Biden was diminished. The third cabinet secretary told me they were shocked by how the president was acting. He seemed, quote, disoriented and, quote, out of it.
Yeah, can you imagine that? Out of it? Like we've been talking about looking out of it for 4 years. Suddenly Jake Tapper notices in writing a book that Joe Biden was out of it. Yes, I know President Biden was not running the country. Now we know Dems knew he wasn't and couldn't run the country. And they looked the other way. That is unpatriotic. That is just some of the discovery of which and the magnitude of this is even beyond what I thought.
Number 1.
There's this piece written this morning about all of these Biden administration officials that are watching this with shock and awe. And they said, here's one quote: when his personal instincts, Trump's, coincide with national interests, it's pretty remarkable how quickly he can move. That is a Biden official watching this in awe.
That is Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany, now a Fox News anchor, talking about what we're seeing with the president's journey. It's his final stop, first overseas trip, major impact, scripted and unscripted sessions. And we see the subplot is Syria getting their sanctions relieved, even though their government is sketchy at best. And at the same time, direct talks with Ukraine and Russia. Ukraine sends their president. Russia sends a medium-range official. Let's bring in Senator Pete Ricketts. Senator, you got to be disappointed that Putin didn't show to a meeting he called.
Yeah, this is just further proof that Putin is not serious about peace. This is, I think the president did the right thing to try and bring the two sides together. If there's anybody who can get Putin and Zelensky together, it's President Trump. But what we're seeing here is that Putin is acting like a dictator that he is. And while we want to make sure we do everything we can to try and bring peace here, if he's not willing to come to the table, then the alternative is just going back to giving Zelensky as much weapons as we can and making it clear to Putin he's not going to be successful here until he decides he is going to come back to the table.
But what about more sanctions? What about secondary sanctions? What about sanctioning the central bank?
Absolutely. We need to continue to ramp up the pressure on Putin. And, frankly, one of the things that the president's not getting credit for, but when he talks about bringing oil prices down, not only does that benefit Americans, it harms Putin, right? This is what's feeding the Russian war machine is oil prices. And so when the president really focuses on bringing those energy prices down, that hurts them too. So, yes, we need to go back to sanctions, but frankly, let's bring oil prices down. That's really what's going to cut off his money to be able to run this war.
President probably would have jetted over there if he thought Putin was there. I got to give Zelensky credit. He did show up. And, he did have friction with the president. We all saw the Oval Office. But since that time, both guys have really amended their ways. Communication's been pretty consistent since that meeting at St. Peter's. Here's the president, cut 32.
Nothing's going to happen until Putin and I get together, okay? And obviously he wasn't going to go. He was going to go, but he thought I was going to go. He wasn't going if I wasn't there. And I don't believe anything's going to happen, whether you like it or not, until he and I get together. But we're going to have to get it solved because too many people are dying.
All right. We'll see what happens. I just know it's going to be hard when you agree to get more weapons allocated to Ukraine.
Yeah, but we got to make sure that we're doing everything we can so that Putin comes to understand that he doesn't have a choice other than sitting down and bringing this war to an end.
So there was a report in NBC the White House has pushed back on that we gave the Iranians an offer, and we said basically this is what you'll need to do in order to avoid war, and that is dismantle your nuclear program, but keep enrichment low, and that means enrichment would take place. They push back on this, but you agree that they cannot enrich and they can't have centrifuges if they're going to have a nuclear program, and I doubt they even want one outside a weapons program. They got to do what UAE does, enrich outside the country.
Absolutely. There's 23 countries who have commercial civilian programs, nuclear programs, and they do what Canada and all these other nations do, which is they import, the low-grade uranium so that they can run their nuclear reactors, but it's not weapons grade. We cannot allow Iran to have an enrichment program. The only way you will be able to absolutely confirm that they are not building nuclear weapons is disarmament. They cannot have centrifuges. They cannot be enriching. That's the only way we will ever really know that they don't have a nuclear bomb program. So this is one of the reasons why I put together this letter. Actually, 52 out of 53 Republican senators signed on to the letter to send to the president to strengthen his hand in his negotiations with Iran to say, look, you've got to disarm. You can't have nuclear weapons and you can't have an enrichment program. And, frankly, they're sitting on a bunch of oil and gas. Why do they even need a nuclear program?
Yeah, they're worried about the environment. You know that. They're so worried about the environment.
That's exactly what I hear out of the Ayatollahs. They're all worried about greenhouse gases and global warming and stuff. Give me a break.
So on NBC, Richard Engel does a great job out in the field. He interviewed an advisor to the Grand Ayatollah. Here's what he said, cut 20.
Today, we sat down with Ali Shamkhani, the military, political, and nuclear advisor to Iran's supreme leader. He said Iran also wants a deal.
Yes, we are ready.
Shamkhani is one of the few people in Iran authorized to speak about the sensitive negotiations.
We can definitely have better relations with the U.S.
They never would have said that. They didn't say that at all during the Biden administration, and all Biden tried to do was kiss up to him for 4 years. Why do you think they at least are saying the right thing?
Because they know that President Trump actually will play hardball with them. I mean, the problem we had with Obama and then with Biden is they tried to buy off the Iranians. They said, well, if we just give enough money, they'll be nice to us. They'll be our friends. This is a theocracy, and this is a dictatorship. The only thing they understand is force. Under the first Trump administration, Trump put maximum pressure on, and the sanctions brought Iran's foreign reserves down from $122.5 billion to under $14 billion. And then Iran couldn't fund Hezbollah or Hamas or the Houthis. And they know they're facing the exact same thing again because Trump has already promised to put maximum pressure on. So they know they're facing going broke if they don't come to some sort of deal with the Trump administration. And they know Trump's serious and that we're going to do it. So that's the only reason they're at the table is because Trump shows that he is strong.
So, Senator, at this point, they've never been more vulnerable. They lost their key ally in Syria. They've lost Hamas and Hezbollah, are greatly diminished, if not destroyed. Houthi rebels seem to be their one surrogate that seems to be still standing strong, even though we bombed them for 800 separate bombing missions. And they promised not to bomb us, but they're still sending rockets over to Israel. And now we see that their missile defense virtually destroyed because of two Israeli attacks. Don't you believe not only do they have to commit to dismantling, they also have to commit to no longer funding proxy terror groups throughout the region and no ballistic missiles?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things that the Trump administration has been clear when they've been talking about it as well. I think President Trump just said that a day or two ago, that part of this deal has got to be that they cannot be funding the Houthis and other proxy groups out there. This is, again, Iran is the largest state sponsor of terrorism. And we need, look, if we're going to have stability and peace in the Middle East, this has got to end. Iran can't be allowed to continue to fund these terrorist wars. And that's got to be part of the deal. Again, if Iran wants to have peace here, they've got to be able to be a peaceful nation, which means they can't create trouble. And again, We got to dismantle their nuclear program, and you mentioned the missiles as well. We cannot give them the ability to be able to strike out and attack our allies like Israel, because that means that we'll just continue to have this problem going forward.
You're on the Foreign Relations Committee and the Budget Committee, but I just want to get your thoughts about the president's message. Essentially, we're not going to tell you how to run your country, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar. You do that yourself. These are our business deals. We want to do business with you. We're not talking about human rights. We're not talking about democracy. I don't have a problem with it. I know some people are saying that there's a huge problem with it, where democracy, we're for values and ethics. I think we are, but I just don't see those demands resonating with people that we want to keep away from China and Russia.
Brian, we certainly always want to promote our values. We always want to talk about human rights and making sure that people understand that we want to promote democratic values. But we can't make that the only reason that we deal with somebody. We got to live in the real world, and there's a lot of other nations that have other values and have other ways of running things. And that doesn't mean that they can't be our friends. We got to work with them. And getting back to, let's take it the extreme, what we saw with the Biden administration, right? What the Biden administration started doing is like saying, oh, we're going to push our values on these countries, and we're going to start pushing things like LGBT, and we're going to start pushing like you got to have boys play girls sports or things like that. And those are not the values that all Americans share, frankly, and it's certainly not the values that in some of these countries. And so we were actually pushing countries away from us by trying to jam some of this stuff down on them. So I think that we've got to live in the real world. We've got to be pragmatic. We certainly always want to stand up for our values. But at the end of the day, we want to have good relationships with countries like Saudi Arabia. We want to have good relationships with Qatar and the UAE. These are important nations in the Middle East. So, we can't make it that, either you got to look exactly like us or you can't be our friends. I mean, even Ronald Reagan said, if you're with me 80% of the time, you're my friend, not my enemy.
So this guy, Moaz Mustafa, joined us. He's from the Syrian Emergency Task Force, born in Syria, lived in America, went back to Syria trying to be an emissary through post-Assad. And here's what he said about the significance of the president's decision to lift sanctions and meet with the interim president of Syria, who was, the majority of his adult life, a terrorist. Cut 14.
Today, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, all these different countries around the region have good relationship with the new Syrian government and are very, very pleased by President Trump now opening the door for Syria to go towards becoming a free, democratic country that protects all of its people. And by his decision, it's the only thing that, by the way, kept China, Iran, and even Russia out of Syria. I mean, the future of Syria was going to be perhaps turmoil and war perpetually, especially with the sanctions that were placed. Today, President Trump stopped Syria from becoming a failed state.
And he gave a series of demands, and one is get Russia out. Number two is keep the ISIS terrorists locked up in prison and secure, and also work towards accepting the Abraham Accords, which means Israel has a right to exist, and set up trade relations. Your thoughts?
It is absolutely in our interest to have Syria be a peaceful nation where it does not have a Russian naval base. This is one of the ways the Russians were using to project their power into the Mediterranean. We don't want Syria hosting terrorists like Hezbollah who attack our allies like Israel. And we don't want the Chinese to have any more inroads into the Middle East either. So it is absolutely in our interest to try and develop a working relationship with Syria. We need to trust but verify here. I think that the president is reaching out his hand to see if we can develop this relationship. I think it's heading the right direction. But again, we got to trust but verify here. This is a country that has been war-torn for a long time. We want to get it back on the right track. We want to keep all these bad actors out of the Middle East. And ultimately, we do want Syria to be able to recognize Israel if we're going to look at having a longer-term Middle East peace. So I think that's the right steps. We just got to be cautious and remember who we're dealing with, and remember the region we're dealing with is, this is heading the right direction, but there's a long road ahead of us to be able to declare victory on this one.
Right. I just love the fact that Iran no longer is welcome there. That helps us. And if we can keep Russia out of there, they're virtually out of the Middle East, and that works to our advantage. Senator Pete Ricketts, thanks so much.
Great. Hey, thanks a lot, Brian.
All
thanks for having me on.
I love what you're doing, too. Also, he's leading the charge. 40-plus senators signing a letter in support of Trump's push to dismantle Iran's nuclear facilities. You listen to the Brian Kilmeade Show.
Newsmakers and newsbreakers. Hear it first on the Brian Kilmeade Show.
WIBX.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the Big Wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Mattress Express is proud to announce we have added Simmons Beauty Rest Black, Serta Eye Comfort, and Avocado, the big online brand, to our lineup in all of our stores. Go to mattressexpressny.com or call 1-800-NEW-BED.
It seems like tariffs are making the prices of everything go up.
We can't tell what's going to happen next.
But we can tell you that we have over 500 new Kias at pre-tariff pricing.
With no money down leases on all of them.
Like a new 2025 Kia Seltos LX all-wheel drive for just $378 per month for 36 months.
And that's with zero down, zero due at inception, even sales tax included. Keep your money in your pocket.
Make that short drive to save.
So go kooky for Kia at Destination Kia of Utica. Puppies and babies not included.
2025 Kia Seltos S all-wheel drive. VIN number S7787389. MSRP $26,275. 36 months, 30,000-mile lease. 20 cents per mile over. $0 due inception. $0 security deposit. 8.75% sales tax and $650 acquisition fee, including payment structure. 730 plus FICO score. Offer expires 6/2/2025.
Are you struggling with neck pain, back, knee, wrist pain? This is Bill Keeler, and I'm talking about Revive Softwave Therapy with Dr. Timothy Del Medico. For me, this has worked. It is FDA cleared, non-invasive. It's all about making the pain go away. The new patient special is just $99. Call today, 315-725-8427. Revive Softwave Therapy with Dr. Timothy Del Medico. 315-725-8427. Call today.
Spring is in the air, and so are the savings at Adirondack Home Furniture in Utica. Now is the perfect time to refresh your space with their incredible spring sale. Discover a beautiful selection of high-quality, USA-made furniture that brings together timeless style and lasting durability. Whether you're updating a single room or reimagining your entire home, Adirondack Home Furniture has just what you need, with unbeatable prices that won't stretch your budget. Looking to elevate your outdoor living? Don't miss their best prices of the season on indoor and outdoor furniture. Perfect pieces for spring and summer lounging. Take advantage of flexible financing options to make your dream home more affordable than ever, and enjoy free local delivery on every purchase. Shop at your own pace in a low-pressure atmosphere with help from experienced interior designers who are ready to bring your vision to life. Visit Adirondack Home Furniture at Riverside Center, Utica, or online at AdirondackHomeFurniture.com. Adirondack Home Furniture. Create the home and the patio you've always dreamed of.
Not everyone who handles your personal information is as careful as you are, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the United States. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock will monitor hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. And if your identity is stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save 40% your first year with my name, Clay, as your promo code at LifeLock.com. LifeLock. For the threats you can't control, terms apply.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
From his mouth to your ears, it's Brian Kilmeade.
I think some of the criticism is fair, to be honest, of me. Certainly, I'm not going to speak for anybody else. But knowing then what I know now, I look back at my coverage during the Biden years, and I did cover some of these issues, but not enough. I look back on it with humility.
Jake Tapper co-wrote a book with Alex Thompson of Axios, now talking about using unnamed sources, cabinet members, high-ranking officials, how out of it Joe Biden was, how little decisions he made, a few decisions he made, how little he actually worked. Some of the comments in his book, and I don't want to sell books, but it does worry me that people are getting away and making money off something that we've been saying that we were seeing for 4 years. This guy couldn't possibly be running the country. Now we know it for sure. One cabinet member worried, looking at the president, that he says that the staff was protecting the president from his own cabinet. Another one said the president was shielded in every meeting. They just wanted to keep him happy and make sure he didn't lose his temper. Another cabinet member says he walked in, his jaw was open, mouth agape. He seemed totally out of it. He would only be able to work 4 to 6 hours on a good day. Can you imagine the bad day? If this isn't a 25th Amendment for any patriotic person, I don't know what is. And I go back to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Milley. I had no choice. I worked for a fascist. I had to go be the source on all these books, and I had to call China and make sure that they knew that we weren't going to bomb them because he was so irrational. And the horrible things he said behind the scenes to undermine Donald Trump. At the same time, years later, he's the one watching Joe Biden make terrible decisions or no decisions, shuffle in, probably nod off in front of him, been unable to get him on the phone. You know that's the story. And now Alex Thompson of Axios and Jake Tapper want you to buy the book about the story and the nightmare that we all lived in. We really had no president. We had a bunch of staffers, not even wasn't healthy enough to do his job, and nobody even knew about it. We thought that Lloyd Austin was getting exposed when it turns out he was in the hospital and didn't tell anyone. You know what was exposing? That the president wasn't even there to be mad. Because he wasn't talking to his Secretary of Defense anyway. You know, his black general, as he referred to him. Unbelievable. If I sound a little aggravated, I'm beyond aggravated. But I'll play some more sound so you know how bad things were. Democrats got to own up to this.
Sure, I'm going to pronounce right.
WIBX.
Stop putting off registering for the 2025 Boilermaker Road Race because it's almost sold out. People are sprinting to Boilermaker.com to grab their racing bibs before they're gone. Reserve your spot at the starting line now and punch your ticket to the world's best post-race party, where there will be live music, drinks, food, and plenty of surprises. This year's Boilermaker will be bigger and better than ever, but the window to sign up is closing. So run, don't walk, to Boilermaker.com and sign up for one of America's most famous races. See you at the starting line, July 13th.
Do you love yard sales? Then get ready for the world's largest yard sale. Why spend your whole weekend driving from sale to sale when you can find all the treasures in one epic spot? It's the world's largest yard sale, sponsored by the Potting Shed Antiques, featuring over 150 vendors in one place, packed with antiques, furniture, tools, name brand clothes, kids gear, toys, collectibles, and tons more. Skip the driving, skip the guessing. Park once, shop tons, and score
score big deals. The world's largest yard sale is Saturday, June 14th, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds. Bring the family, bring your friends, bring your bags, and bring your treasure hunting spirit. The world's largest yard sale at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds, June 14th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. featuring the jazz sounds of the Dove Tones. Sponsored by the Potting Shed Antiques, John's Mobile Homes and Accessories, Standard Heating, Cooling, and Insulating, Clinton Tractor and Implement Company, and James Mitsubishi.
If you're experiencing discomfort in your knees, hips, or back, it may stem from foot issues. The Good Feet store is here to help with their team of arch support specialists. Their comprehensive solution includes strengtheners, maintainers, and relaxers, a 3-step system of arch supports that work together to improve and maintain proper foot alignment by exercising and strengthening muscles, tendons, and ligaments of the feet. Get back to being pain-free with the Good Feet store at their new Hartford location on Commercial Drive. Learn more at goodfeet.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
518-554-0000, 100 Great Oaks, Albany.
Now, don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless. That comes with a lot of fine print, plus. Oh, in other words, you pay more. At the end of the day, you paid for that, quote, free phone 3 times over. There is a better way. Pure Talk, my cell phone provider, a veteran-owned company, my sponsor, my wireless company, has a much better offer. A free phone with a qualifying plan for just $35 a month, and you get a brand new Samsung Galaxy A26. Just make the switch to Pure Talk for $35 a month. You get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 15 gigs of data with mobile hotspot and roaming, all on America's most dependable 5G network. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will help you make the switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk for your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan when you make the switch to Pure Talk. Wireless by Americans for Americans.
Mark your calendars. Shred Day is coming up fast. Join Herkimer Next and GPO Federal Credit Union Saturday, May 17th from 9 to 11 a.m. at Central Plaza in Ilion. It's your chance to protect your identity by securely shredding old documents for free. Just bring up to 5 boxes or bags per person. No drop-offs, please. Presented by Herkimer Next, building a stronger Herkimer County, alongside GPO Federal Credit Union. Don't miss Shred Day, May 17th from 9 to 11 a.m. at Central Plaza.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. The Supreme Court is about to hear arguments about lower courts blocking President Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship.
What the administration is arguing is like, listen, this has come into an epidemic proportion with this Trump administration, all of these nationwide injunctions, and you're stopping the executive branch, the president, from being able to do his job. Now, on the other side of this, you've got some organizations, some states suing, saying, listen, birthright citizenship has been understood to be the same way for 125 years. There's no emergency here. There's no reason for the Supreme Court to get involved.
Fox Chief Legal Correspondent Shannon Bream. President Trump is in the United Arab Emirates. On Air Force One, he's asked about Russia-Ukraine peace talks in Turkey, not attended by Russian President Vladimir Putin.
He was going to go, but he thought I was going to go. He wasn't going if I wasn't there. And I don't believe anything's going to happen, whether you like it or not, until he and I get together.
America's listening to Fox News.
A few showers, thunderstorms this afternoon, ending as we head on in through this evening. They'll be scattered around, so not everybody getting rainfall. But heads up, thunder roars, get indoors. 78 should do it. Tonight will start to clear after the storms end early 60, 50s in the North Country. Friday, we're back at it. A few showers, thunderstorms midday into the afternoon, high 82. I'm meteorologist Ray Stagik at the Weather Channel on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Hey, Mohawk Valley, I'm talking to you. New Hartford, Little Falls, Ilion, Oneida. Jimmy Fallon's in the house, and I'm coming up with a great show on Fox Across America, noon, WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM.
Happening 1-866-408-7669. The night because President was rolling with the time change and everything. He was rolling. I mean, he was at Qatar, and he goes to Al Udeid Air Base there, built by the Qataris, by the way, for those people who say we should not be accepting gifts, they built a whole military base for us and pay 60% of all costs because they wanted our military presence there. But having said that, then the president gave a rally-like speech to the men and women there. Pete Hegseth, a fantastic introduction. Then he hopped on a plane and landed in the UAE where they're doing the pomp and circumstances, displaying their military. And then there's going to have a meeting there where he's going to be talking about $1.4 trillion worth of investment, mostly high tech, mostly in chips, mostly in AI over the next 10 years with this country. And what the president's doing is saying, let's be allies. I'm not going to get into how you run your country. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. Let's just talk about having a economic relationship. And in the case of Saudi Arabia, and I think all the other two countries, a military one. So we'll take some calls on that, and I'll let you know how it developed. Meanwhile, some big news, and that is Greg Gutfeld's got this great game show. It is on Fox Nation. It is out now, and it is fantastic. It's called Greg Gutfeld's What Did I Miss? We're going to talk to Mike Brown, who was the winner, but they were basically holed up, locked out of the news for a long period of time, and then quizzed on what actually took place. Here is how it sounded as Mike Brown was declared the winner.
Oh my God! Excellent work. Yes! Nicely done. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I'm glad you didn't pick me up. Yes! That was crazy. Did you know that was the right one the whole time? Oh, he's breaking down. Mike's crying. I get it. Deep breath.
Okay.
Deep breath.
You deserve it. You deserve it, Mike.
That was crazy.
If I were Mike's wife and I was just watching backstage of you crying over me, I would be so turned on.
How you doing,
like,
buddy?
why'd I bring these kids here?
How you doing?
So that is Mike Brown, winner of the Greg Gutfeld What Did I Miss? After being away from his family for a long period of time, a construction worker from Newcastle, Indiana, pursuing a career in music and entertainment, took a shot with us on Fox Nation and ended up winning. He's got 4 kids, 19, 16, 13, and 7. And he and his wife been married for 22 years, and they took a break so Mike could do this show. Mike, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here, Brian.
Hey, Mike, I know you just did Fox and Friends 2. Tell everyone what you went through, where you were, and what you agreed to do.
Okay. So we were in upstate New York. They put us in a house out, not exactly in the middle of nowhere, but for us it was. And we agreed to be separated from family, technology, phone, communication, television, be separated from everything, totally disconnected for 90 days and try to build relationships to a degree with the 5 people that were originally in the house and get along, even though we had some differences, you know, and then come out and work together and build a pot up on the game show and hopefully have somebody, well, not hopefully, but have somebody win. And it ended up being me.
How much did you win?
It ended up being a total of $29,000.
Wow. And you said you're going to donate 10% to your church. Why?
Yes. I'm being a man of faith and a family of faith. You know, we always try to give God the first part, so he'll get his part and we'll enjoy what's left.
Yeah, absolutely. So plus music is tough to make. The most talented people, it's a tough business. Absolutely. And that's what you're doing. How hard was it to be away from your family? What did you find to be the toughest part?
So the toughest part, definitely being away from my family. I missed my son's 16th birthday. Wow. Valentine's Day with my wife. Like I told others, that was the first one apart in 22 years. So all of that was tough because we're together a lot. We try to do a lot of things together. We're separate just on little trips every now and then, but not that long. I would say not just being away, but then because you're by yourself and the way the isolation was, and I was the oldest, ended up ending the show being the oldest. I went into it with a little different perspective. So especially a lot of people my age, you hear them sometimes talk about, I wish I could do this over, or I wish I could reset my life, or what I wouldn't give to, you know, have a second start. And so I went into it thinking I'm going to really review my life and look over it, and you slow life down so much that the blind spots that you normally ignore, because we all got them. Life moves so fast, you just don't have any. You don't take the time to address them. And the hardest part was looking at all the things that I needed to change and to accept the responsibility that I'm my own biggest problem.
Really? So instead of just trying to win as much money as possible during that time, you do use that as a time of reflection and personal growth. So whether you won the $30,000 or not, you benefited.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. 100%.
So first off, about you, Mike, like for me, it would be torture because I actually love following the news, the storylines. I have to for work, but I love doing it. For me to be isolated for that time would be tough. Did you have a fundamental knowledge of the news and understood where a lot of these stories were going? The election and military and assassinations and things like that?
Yes, I did. I don't follow the news quite like you do and some others, but for years, I've really tried to be involved and be more educated, especially as a Christian. I think a lot of Christians are ignorant to what's really going on. And so I think I've really tried to push myself to understand as much as I can all these different issues. So I was aware of what was going on before we went in, which I kind of held on to and reviewed in my mind throughout the time, just to kind of have hopefully a little bit of that help when we started getting the questions.
Right, and you had some comedians in there. You had Kat Timpf in there, and Jamie Lissau was in there. And you had to ask questions, and you guys had fun. Here's an example. Cut 39.
You think we're in like a war? I think they would at least let us know.
No.
What? This show would still go on.
They would not let us out of here. Not a chance.
If 48 states were at war, we would still be here.
What if we have 51?
Oh, yeah.
What if we have 51?
Canada?
What if we have 51 states?
We took Canada over now? I think Greenland is more. We just.
So we're going to have 52?
There is some unlikely things that happened in the Trump era. If I was to tell you that we're going to threaten Greenland, to take Greenland and the Panama Canal, you must have thought, well, that's a joke. Well, that's what happened. Are you going to say, are we going to threaten to make Canada the 51st state? Well, that's not true. Well, it is true. So some of the stuff that's happened must have stunned you. Anything in particular?
I was one of the first out-of-the-box things that wasn't even addressed on the game show was the Gulf of America, because I didn't really think that would happen, but here it is. And then from the game show standpoint, the $1 trillion the Wall Street crash. I didn't expect that. That kind of took me by surprise. And then the whole sending Katy Perry up into space. I'm like, can't we put money towards something else? Been doing that, so yes.
All right. Well, but you made some good friends.
Yes, I did. I actually really enjoyed the other three people that we ended up, finishing the show with. Actually talked to two of them, Sonny and Mark, quite a bit throughout the week. Allegra stays a little more busy than the rest of us with all the stuff she does. So.
Right. Nice. So it was a great experience. I'm so glad you won the money. It's great that you're giving back, and it's good that you use that time as personal reflection. I'm just sorry you had to deal with Gutfeld. That's my only regret for you. Mike Brown, congratulations.